To the glorious youth that has passed away for 10 years. The protagonist's setting comes from an old manga called Super Intelligent Ping Pong. Ouyang Xuanya. Keywords of the novel: full-time expert, supersensory prodigy without pop-ups, full-time expert, Supersensory Prodigy TXT complete collection download, full-time expert, Supersensory Prodigy latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Return to China. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Return to China. H City International Airport. The plane slowly landed on the runway with a loud roar from its engine. Finally back. The young man standing at the exit raised his wrist to look at the time, and his face became very excited. Compared to the passers-by who come and go, the young man has a unique oriental face of the Chinese people. Although dressed very simply, he gives a sense of extraordinary temperament and attraction. Unlike ordinary people, his eyes, blue like the sky, reflecting a faint blue light in the sunlight, indicate that the young man is wearing a pair of contact lenses. At this moment, the young man's pocket vibrated. He took out his phone from his pocket and pressed the connect button, then put it in his ear and chuckled, "Oh, my dear mother, hello. If you can hear it, it means your dear son has arrived in H City. Don't worry." Humph. The woman on the other end of the phone snorted coldly, "Ouyang Xuanya. Your cousin has been waiting for you at the airport exit for half an hour, why are you still dragging around?" Upon hearing this, Ouyang Xuanya also chuckled and said, "Mom, how did you know I just got off the plane? Did you send someone to track me?" "Pooh, little stinky beauty. Your cousin called me 10 minutes ago and said you haven't come out yet, go over quickly." Oh, immediately." Ouyang Xuanya quickly responded. Hanging up the phone, Ouyang Xuanya immediately stepped forward and walked towards the direction of the airport entrance, observing the surrounding environment along the way. This time, he came to H City mainly to relax. After all, he had been doing scientific research for a period of time and needed to relax his mind, didn't he? Soon, Ouyang Xuanya arrived at the airport gate. A tall and beautiful woman was standing there, attracting the attention of pedestrians around her. After seeing it, Ouyang Xuanya immediately showed a sincere smile and walked towards the other party, chuckling and saying, "Dear cousin, it's been a long time since we last met. I miss you so much." Chenghua threw a big nose bag at Ouyang Xuanya's head in anger and scolded, "Don't give me all this useless talk. Come with me quickly. I didn't even close the store to pick you up, kid. Hurry up." "Dear cousin, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Don't be angry, it's easy to get old." Ouyang Xuanya quickly begged for mercy. Chenghua glared fiercely at Ouyang Xuanya and said angrily, "All right, come with me quickly." Obedience. Ouyang Xuanya saluted. Chenghua shook his head helplessly and walked out of the airport with Ouyang Xuanya. On the way out of the airport, Chenghua was thinking, "I really don't know what my aunt thought back then. Giving such an elegant name, why are people so cheap?" To be honest, although Ouyang Xuanya has a somewhat unconventional personality, his IQ is among the best. Otherwise, he wouldn't have obtained a doctoral degree from a polytechnic university at the age of 15, a highly intelligent genius who combines mechanical electronics, computer software, and physical engineering. By the way, how are your eyes now? Chenghua suddenly looked into Ouyang Xuanya's eyes and asked. "Not bad, I feel less uncomfortable after putting on my glasses," Ouyang Xuanya replied. Chenghua nodded and said, "Since it's okay, I can rest assured. After all, Chenghua runs an internet cafe. If anything happens to Ouyang Xuanya here, his aunt may even tear her apart." Ouyang Xuanya was not foolish either, and naturally knew Chengua's concerns. He smiled and said, "Cousin, don't worry, I dare to come if I'm not prepared." "That's good, let's go." Chenghua stopped a taxi and got into the taxi. The driver then got in and started the car, heading towards Xingxin Internet Cafe. Half an hour later, Xingxin Internet Cafe. "Oh, boss lady, you're looking for a new boyfriend," a regular at the Internet Cafe joked as he looked at Chen Guo and Ouyang Xuanya. "Get out of here." Chen Guobai glanced at the regular customer and said, "My cousin, come and play for a few days. Isn't there an activity today? Aren't you still on the plane?" "Okay. What activity?" Ouyang Xuanya beside him couldn't help but ask. Chen Guo knew this guy didn't play honor, so it was worth patiently explaining to him, "There's an activity in the game. If you want to play, I have an account card here, give it a try." He then took out a card from his pocket and handed it to Ouyang Xuanya. Upon hearing this, Ouyang Xuanya was also delighted. He had been wanting to give it a try for a long time, and his time in scientific research has almost made him lose control of the internet. Just as Ouyang Xuanya wanted to take Chen Guo's account card, Chen Guo suddenly withdrew his hand and hid the card behind him. "What's wrong, cousin?" Ouyang Xuanya asked in confusion. "Don't rush to play for now," Chen Guo said nervously. "Are you okay with the computer now?" "No problem, I just looked at the screen all day before coming and nothing happened," said Ouyang Xuanya. Chen Guo breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing Ouyang Xuanya's answer and said, "Then you can play for a while, and I'll go and start the game for you." Ouyang Xuanya nodded and said with a smile, "By the way, sister, are you allowing minors to enter the internet cafe like this?" Chen Guo rolled his eyes, too lazy to pay attention to Ouyang Xuanya, and walked straight towards the counter. Ouyang Xuanya walked to the innermost machine with his account card in hand. "Insert the card and get on the computer." Looking at the ID above, "Chasing Yanxiao." "It sounds pretty good," Ouyang Xuanya thought to himself. At this moment, Chen Guo's voice came from behind. "Be careful, I've been practicing this number for a long time. If you drop the level, you're done. Are you clear?" Upon hearing this, Ouyang Xuanya quickly replied, I know. "Sister, you don't have to be so nervous." "It's good to know," Chen Guo said to Ouyang Xuanya, then turned around and walked back to the counter. Ouyang Xuanya did not start the game, but first opened QQ and skillfully found an ID in the message. "Mysterious and mysterious. I'm back. Princess Chi-Chi. Oh, the young master has finally been released. Congratulations. Smiling face, mysterious and mysterious. Damn it, it seems like I'm being imprisoned. Princess Chi-Chi. Isn't it? If that side doesn't let you go, you can come back so quickly. Suspected, mysterious and mysterious. That's right. Princess Chi-Chi. Since you're back, have you decided what to do? Mysterious and mysterious. I haven't figured it out yet. Let's play for a while, anyway I'm not in a hurry. Bad laugh, Princess Chi-Chi. That's right, by the way, you can play honor. It's okay for you to look at the screen now. Expectation, mysterious and mysterious. You can give it a try. In contemplation, Princess Chi-Chi. Then come to our team. With your reflexes and IQ, there may not be many players in the entire league who can compete with you. But when we combine our swords, we can dominate the Glory League. Winning 3 or 5 consecutive championships is not a problem. Laughing, mysterious and mysterious. Well, does the game still have teams? Confused, Princess Chi-Chi. Please search for my name. Mysterious and mysterious. Oh. Immediately, Ouyang Xuanya searched for honor, Dai Yanqi, and battalion on a certain platform. After seeing the information, he couldn't help but type and ask. Mysterious and mysterious. What is thunder like? Princess Chi-Chi. Are you polite? Anger, mysterious and mysterious. I haven't been in contact with anyone before, how could I know? Princess Chi-Chi. Alright, forgive you, my big brother. Touch your head, mysterious and mysterious. Get lost. Princess Chi-Chi. Okay, after closing the chat box, Ouyang Xuanya looked at the honor interface again, carefully examining the skill list and character introduction of chasing smoke and mist. Well, being killed in the wilderness is the only way to drop levels, not in the arena, murmured Ouyang Xuanya to himself. Then, as if making a decision, the arena interface opened. Matching, chasing Yanxia versus carbonization. Brother Ouyang Xuanya looked at the player across from him, holding a one-handed sword, he was a swordsman. Yo ho, it's a girl. Don't worry, brother only uses half of his strength, the carbonized brother across from him said in a voice. Good guy, he is indeed a lowly guest, and Ouyang Xuanya is not willing to be outdone. He directly retorted, I'll let your grandmother's banana peel go. Did you put donkey hair in your mouth? I'm a man. Sleeping trough, fake mother. The player across from me cursed upon seeing this. Cut. Ouyang Xuanya is not afraid. He even the fake girl dares to shout in front of me. Believe it or not, I'll let you meet the king of hell online every minute, said the player across from me. Che, he's just a miscellaneous soldier, Ouyang Xuanya sneered. Zabbing, my day, I am a special zabbing. What are you? I killed you so badly, said the player on the other side, cursing. I'm a fortune teller, what are you? Ouyang Xuanya pursed his lips and said. Ah. The player on the other side suddenly went berserk. 3-section chopping. Xiangxia dodged directly, and the backhand was a armor-piercing cannon. The opposing swordsman instantly lost 10% of his health. Sleeping trough, so fast, the player exclaimed in surprise. This person is not simple. After realizing this, Brother Carbonization increased his hand speed and suddenly came to Xiangxia, throwing a level 65 swordsman move, Blade Storm. Seeing the attack from the player on the other side, Ouyang Xuanya frowned slightly. The opponent's operation was indeed powerful, there was something wrong with it. Seeing that Xiangxia's health was instantly reduced by 30%, the player immediately laughed and said, how about it, fake mother? There's still time to surrender now. Sleeping in bed, I have such a bad temper. You're still trying hard, right? Ouyang Xuanya became furious. After speaking, he fired a thermal missile directly and fired it out. The distance was so close that the cheap customer didn't react and was directly hit by a missile, followed by an energy storage cannon. The operator of the opposite carbonization brother's old face turned black. Good guy, the energy storage cannon stiffens directly after completion. Upon seeing this, Ouyang Xuanya first mocked and said, goodbye to you. Then he fired a laser cannon directly. Glory! Ouyang Xuanya was so happy that he flew up and rubbed his hands. It's not bad, he said, not bad, the skills are so well connected. Suddenly, a pair of hands patted Ouyang Xuanya's shoulder from behind and said. Ouyang Xuanya turned his head and saw a man wearing a down jacket standing behind him. As soon as the man finished speaking and was about to take out a cigarette, Ouyang Xuanya stopped him and pointed to a sign, saying, this is a no-smoking area. The person was momentarily taken aback, then apologetically withdrew the cigarette and said, I'm sorry. It's okay, you're getting on here. Ouyang Xuanya said. Yes, number 31 in Zone C. The man pointed to the computer next to Ouyang Xuanya. Oh, I'm ready, after all, it's not my account, said Ouyang Xuanya. Boss's wife, the man smiled slightly and said. How do you know? Ouyang Xuanya hesitated slightly. It seems like you're not yet an adult. This is not a black internet cafe, and I can't think of a minor here except for the boss's relatives who can access the internet. After speaking, the man opened his computer and logged in to Honor. Amazing. Ouyang Xuanya gave a thumbs up and said, "Get to know Ouyang Xuanya." Yi Xiu. "Man, no," Yi Xiu extended his right hand. Ouyang Xuanya looked at Yi Xiu's right hand and couldn't help but smile. He extended his right hand and shook hands. "Tonight, the server in the 10th district is open. Are you coming or not?" Yi Xiu smiled and said to Ouyang Xuanya. "Of course, I'll go find my older sister and ask for an account card later," Ouyang Xuanya said with a smile. As the two chatted, Yi Xiu also occasionally introduced the career divisions of honor to Ouyang Xuanya, which helped Ouyang Xuanya find his position as a sharpshooter. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Service Opening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Service Opening. In the evening, Chenghua shook the snow off his body at the entrance of the internet cafe and placed a plastic box on the table of Ouyang Xuanya. "No, you want to cover the rice with water." "Wow, thank you, sister." Ouyang Xuanya said excitedly, returning Chengua's account card to her. "How many times have you died?" Chenghua smiled and said. "I'm afraid of being chopped to death by you, older sister. I didn't dare to leave the city and stay in the arena, Hua and others." Ouyang Xuanya said sincerely. After hearing this, Chenghua glanced at Ouyang Xuanya and handed him a new account card, saying, "Take it." "Thank you, sister." Ouyang Xuanya took the account card and said with a smile. "Stop talking nonsense, finish your meal quickly. We'll open a new area tonight," Chenghua said. "Okay," Ouyang Xuanya said with a playful smile. After finishing his meal, Ouyang Xuanya noticed that the person named Yi Xiu had run to the counter. He then found Chenghua and pointed to Yi Xiu, asking, "Sister, who is that person?" "I just hired a night shift network administrator in the afternoon," Chenghua casually explained and prepared to go get a tissue. Upon seeing this, Ouyang Xuanya was too lazy to bother with Chenghua and sat next to Yi Xiu, waiting for the arrival of 12 o'clock. "Do you want to play any profession?" Yi Xiu said with a mix and match. "The sharpshooter," said Ouyang Xuanya. The sharpshooter, Yi Xiu paused, unsure of what he was recalling. "What's wrong?" Ouyang Xuanya asked, then looked at Yi Xiu and couldn't help but think. It seems that he is also a person with a story. "No, it's nothing. I was thinking that you, the gunner, are also playing pretty well. Why do you want to play with the sharpshooter?" Yi Xiu said. "The forward swing of the gunner's skill is too long to keep up with my reflex nerves," explained Ouyang Xuanya. "Oh." Yi Xiu suddenly became interested and nodded, "Speak in detail." Ouyang Xuanya could only explain, "I have been different from others since I was young. Not only do I have a thinking speed that is 3 times faster than the average person, but my reflexes are also 3 times faster than others. As for fighting, when someone subconsciously wants to hit me with a fist, I already know in my mind where he wants to hit me, and I can take a step ahead of him. Is there anything so awesome?" Yi Xiu said. "Well, so today when I was playing as a gunner, I was basically using my subconscious to operate," said Ouyang Xuanya. "Is your consciousness okay?" "It's a pity not to become a professional athlete," Yi Xiu joked. "Do you think a thinking speed of 3 times is impressive?" "There are sequelae," said Ouyang Xuanya. "Oh." Yi Xiu looked curious about the baby. Ouyang Xuanya continued to explain, "Because my reflex nerves are 3 times that of an ordinary person, and in my eyes, the world is also running at 3 times the speed of others, I never dared to watch TV when I was young. So when someone else had a computer to use, my home basically didn't dare to even install TV because I couldn't control my reflex nerves." "What is your current situation?" Yi Xiu asked. "Now, it's not too bad," Ouyang Xuanya said with a smile. "After all, there's external help." After saying that, he pointed to his own eyes. Yi Xiu looked towards Ouyang Xuanyang's fingers and found a pair of blue pupils that were different from ordinary people. Yi Xiu also nodded and said, "What is this?" "Contact lenses made with deceleration glass," Ouyang Xuanyang explained with a smile. "Amazing," Yi Xiu praised. "Hee hee hee hee." Ouyang Xuanyang chuckled foolishly. Yi Xiu didn't say much, but continued to lower his head and fiddle with the computer. Just as the two were talking, the bell rang at 12 o'clock. After the two heard it, they inserted the card, District 10, "We're here." After clicking on Honor, Ouyang Xuanyang thought for a moment and entered an ID for Zhong Air in the field. "What's your name?" Yi Xiu asked. "Xiantian Yun." Ouyang Xuanyang said, "And you?" "Don't laugh, June." Yi Xiu said with a hint of teasing, "A cloud in the northwest Xiantian, you're trying to turn the grass into a bandit." "Hee hee," Ouyang Xuanyang smiled. "I added you, I agree," Yi Xiu said. "Okay." At this moment, a character with an ID of Jun Mo Xiao walked towards Ouyang Xuanyang. Ouyang Xuanyang looked at it and saw that it was a novice village. "Yi Xiu." Ouyang Xuanyang typed and asked. "Yeah." Jun Mo replied with a smile. At this moment, Ouyang Xuanyang noticed that the weapon in Jun Mo Xiao's hand seemed to be different from other players, so he spoke up and asked, "Your weapon seems a bit different." Upon hearing this, Yi Xiu chuckled lightly and said, "Qianji umbrella, homemade. Self-made. Can you still make weapons in this game?" Ouyang Xuanyang exclaimed in surprise. "I'm getting more and more curious about Honor's physics engine now. Let's take a look at it sometime." I advise you not to do this. We don't want to do anything that violates the law." Yi Xiu was speechless. "Shouldn't you ask about homemade weapons now? Why does your brain circuit think of black servers? It's just a casual remark. I definitely can't break this kind of program now. By the way, since I can make it myself, can I also make 2 guns myself?" Ouyang Xuanyang said excitedly. "Only you didn't expect it." Yi Xiu, who didn't know how to answer, could only answer like this. "The Grand Glory textbook has now been numbed by a minor. Let me take you through the beginner task first." Yi Xiu had to shift the topic. Ouyang Xuanyang immediately nodded and then began to work on the beginner task with Yi Xiu. "Alright, now I'll take you to the dungeon." Yi Xiu looked at the underage in front of him with a hint of sweat. Good guy, he just gave a casual guidance and was able to quickly grasp the essence of the sharpshooter's gameplay. Moreover, his observation and judgment in just grabbing monsters almost caught up with a guy with a hand speed of over 100 million. Although Ouyang Xuanyang's hand speed seems to be over 200 from just observing, this is already the entry-level of a professional player, and from his performance, it seems that this is not the limit. "Where are we going?" Ouyang Xuanyang asked. "Green's Forest," Yi Xiu said, pointing to the center marked on the map. This novice dungeon is the easiest to detect a player's level, and he wants to see how the consciousness of the nearby little genius is. Too short, too short, too short, said an ID on the world channel called Zhongyue Mian. "Alright, let's go, let's join the team," Yi Xiu said, and after that, he took Ouyang Xuanyang to count. "Confirm, okay, everyone is ready to start work," shouted Zhongyue Mian on the team channel. "Wait a moment, what if there is a hidden boss waiting? How do we divide it?" Yi Xiu typed and asked. "Oh ho, you have such a dream." Zhongyue Mian sighed. "It seems like 2 old players have arrived, at least they won't be tricked when they enter the dungeon." "What is a hidden boss?" Ouyang Xuanyang asked Yi Xiu next to him. He didn't type or talk nonsense. A suspected professional player sat next to him and asked if he slept much better than that month. Yi Xiubian explained to him as he prepared, a hidden boss is something that can only be encountered when entering a dungeon in team mode. The system gives players a prompt at the moment of entering the dungeon. The strength of a hidden boss is generally stronger than the final boss of the dungeon, and it will explode some equipment or items that ordinary bosses cannot produce. If you have the idea of making weapons, try to kill some hidden bosses to get rare materials. However, even if there are rare materials in this new dungeon, it will not be advanced much. Zhongyue Mian also replied, that thing can be encountered but not sought after. It depends on who puts in more effort and who shares more. Cheng Yi Xiu replied. As soon as I entered the dungeon, a voice came from my earphones. Sleeping slot, did you save the Milky Way in your previous life? Speaking of it, come on. The Night Cat Demon, the hidden boss of Green Forest, had a pitifully low probability of appearing. Unexpectedly, it came out the first time it entered, which made Ouyang Xuanya feel like he was playing with Yang Shou. Hee, good luck, Yi Xiu said. Do you have the confidence to take it down? Of course I have confidence. Brothers, come on, replied Zhongyue Mian. Amidst a burst of cheers, the small team strode forward and each little monster collapsed in front of the 5 people. Alright, that's all for the hidden boss, Ouyang Xuanya said as he looked at the empty space in front of him. That's right, and there's no system announcement. If we take it down, it's the first kill in the whole district, said Zhongyue Mian excitedly. Rush, Zhongyue Mian shouted loudly. With a rustling sound coming out, Yi Xiu became somewhat cautious and said, we're here. After speaking, directly manipulating Jun Mo Shao towards the woods over there was a fierce shot. Ouyang Xuanya was also unwilling to be outdone, and Xuantianyan followed suit. He moved left and right, and aimed at the Dark Night Cat Demon, giving it a barrage of output. Crouching slot, did the gunman just use his Z.shake, said one person in the team. It's really true, I'll go and see that range. It's at the professional level, Zhongyue Mian couldn't help but sigh, how could 2 experts come out of the next dungeon? Okay, that's it. Xiantian continues to output like this, the mage's fireball technique keeps up, and the MT level is good. Yi Xiu then acted as a temporary commander. Crazy, come on. Yi Xiu continued typing. After 15 seconds. Who still has blue? Zhongyue Mian asked while outputting. 20%, said Ouyang Xuanya. No more, said the passerby mage. Hold on, it's almost done soon. Zhongyue Mian cheered. You have to hold on, Yi Xiu added. After speaking, with a swipe of the mouse on his right hand, Jun Mo Zhao's 1000 machine umbrella turned into a spear and then rushed forward. Xiantian is ready to strike together, Yi Xiu said to Ouyang Xuanya next to him. Alright, Ouyang Xuanya said, firing a fierce shot. I'll go, what did I see? A divine spear and an unknown profession are using Z.shaped shaking to attack the boss. It's a safe profession level, right? The mage, who had already hung up, looked at the screen in surprise and said. The remaining 2 of them also regained their senses and looked at the screen with a slight daze. This operation, forget it, just now there was a Z.shaped shake, and now there is a shadowing step that is no longer surprising. Before the 3 of them could come to their senses, the system announcement sounded in the 10th zone. Congratulations to players in the 10th zone who have fallen asleep in the middle of the month, Jun Mo Shao, Xian Tianyun, Yangguan. I am MT and have successfully completed the first kill of the Night Cat Demon, crouching slot, first kill, pretty good, isn't it? At this moment, a voice came from behind Yi Xiu and Ouyang Xuanya, followed by 2 big nose pouches thrown at his 2 heads. Sister, it hurts a lot, Ouyang Xuanya said with some dissatisfaction. It's okay, is it love to hit or scold? Look what's going on. Qingguo asked impatiently, snatching Ouyang Xuanya's mouse. Let me take a look, Cat's Eye Stone, skill book. Why is that so? Qingguo asked with some confusion. At this moment, Yi Xiu took over the conversation and said, Boss, this is a wild team. If something goes viral, we only have 1 point left. That's right, Chen Guoshan chuckled and said, what should we do next? Level up, Yi Xiu answered without hesitation. Still playing. It's almost midnight. You're not working. Chen Guo stared at Yi Xiu and then looked at Ouyang Xuanya. And you, aren't you sleeping yet? Let's go, let's go. The two of them could only silently put away their account cards, one standing at the counter and the other rolling upstairs. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. First Kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. First Kill. Early the next morning. Old Yi, what happened last night? Ouyang Xuanya knew that young people with internet addiction would definitely register for work at night. As expected, Yi Xiu gave him the next sentence to directly break through the defense. It's okay, I just got 3 more first kills, Yi Xiu said nonchalantly. You're amazing, Ouyang Xuanya said speechlessly. Last night's experience made him realize that the first kill in a dungeon is already difficult enough. This guy came in 3 in a night, which really doesn't give anyone a chance to survive. Damn it, Xuanya, did you secretly play again last night? Chen Guo, who had just come downstairs, shouted directly when he saw Yi Xiu chatting with Ouyang Xuanya. No. Sister, I just got up too, Ouyang Xuanya said weakly. I'll prove, boss, he just came down, Yi Xiu also raised his hand and said. That's good. Chen Guo just glanced at him twice and didn't speak again. Boss, I'll go downstairs first. After Yi Xiu greeted Chen Guo, he prepared to go upstairs. Go ahead, Chen Guo waved his hand and said. I'm going to level up first, Ouyang Xuanya said and quickly turned on the computer. Chen Guo is no longer surprised by this. Since Yi Xiu and Ouyang Xuanya met yesterday, he feels like Ouyang Xuanya's brother and has become a passerby. Ouyang Xuanya found the computer that was registered last night and skillfully inserted the card to register. As soon as I logged in, I noticed that the friends section was constantly flashing. After clicking on it, I realized that I had slept with myself more than 20 times in that month last night, but I couldn't help it. The other person was so sincere, so it's hard for us to evade it, right? Then I clicked on, agree. The other party immediately sent a message saying, Master, you are finally online. Ouyang Xuanya also has a black line. This guy, squat down. This is. You haven't slept yet. He, last night Jun Ma Xiao, the great god, took us through several dungeons and was a bit excited, replied Zhongyue Mian. So he's going to bed now, Ouyang Xuanya replied, also, I'm not a god. I played honor for the first time yesterday. How could that be possible? Last night, De Shen's skill was comparable to that of a professional athlete. Zhongyue Mian was also surprised, and then said, De Shen should be practicing now. I won't disturb you, go to sleep first. Good night. No, good morning, right. After thinking for a while, Ouyang Xuanya didn't know what to post, so she had to watch him go offline. At noon, Chen Guo opened the projection of the internet cafe and said there was some major news. According to our news, yesterday afternoon, the Jiashi team officially confirmed that Yi Qiu, the captain of the Jiashi team and the operator of Yi Zhiqiu, has officially resigned from his position as captain and has chosen to retire. The god-level role and captain position will be taken over by the newly joined newcomer Ouyang Xuanya. At the same time, Yi Qiu has politely declined other job invitations from the Jiashi club. As the unique creator of a three-peat team in the history of glory, he carries our youth. To this end, we can only bid farewell to Yi Qiu with a heavy heart. Now, let's once again review the wonderful operation of Yi Zhiqiu, who holds the title of God of Fighting. Subsequently, the exciting scene of Autumn of One Leaf began to play on the screen. Looking at the operation above, Ouyang Xuanya suddenly felt somewhat familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere before. But the following press conference made Ouyang Xuanya feel even more inexplicable. At the press conference held by Jia Shi Club, Yi Qiu surprisingly did not attend his own press conference, and it was entirely the responsibility of the manager, which made Ouyang Xuanya feel somewhat puzzled. This is completely illogical. In theory, even if it's mysterious, if you retire, at least you would still make a statement yourself. It's illogical to just take out a retirement statement and get things done hastily. Unless it should be Jia Shi and his gang who forced him to abdicate, but even if he started playing honor at the age of 18, he would be almost in his 30s now. Ouyang Xuanya thought to himself and then searched for Yi Qiu and Yi Ji Qiu on Baidu. When he wanted to see who this person was, he even posted a special news to announce his retirement. However, seeing the photos found, Ouyang Xuanya was dumbfounded. This person didn't show his face at all. A black mask directly covered half of his face, making Ouyang Xuanya have no idea what this person looks like. However, there are still operation videos to watch, Ouyang Xuanya thought, because he had seen the operation of Yi Ji Qiu on the screen just now somewhere, but he just couldn't remember it. Opening the video, Ouyang Xuanya carefully studied it. This person's operation was smooth, and each skill was used perfectly. Moreover, he cooperated well with the gunner with ID, Muyu Orange Wind. If he scored 10 points, Ouyang Xuanya could score 9 points. Watching this video, Ouyang Xuanya's eyebrows slowly furrowed. He felt like he had seen this person somewhere before, but couldn't remember it. Finally, he shook his head and focused on the back of the video. He wanted to see how exciting Yi Qiu's subsequent actions would be. Wait a minute, Ouyang Xuanya suddenly muttered to himself, isn't the operation of this spear the same as that Jun Mo Shao from Yi Qiu? If not, it looks like 80 or 90% of the time. Immediately, Ouyang Xuanya searched again. This time, he added Yi Qiu, and after some operation, it surprisingly showed that the person was not there. It's strange, Ouyang Xuanya thought to himself, it's not like the name was changed later. However, Ouyang Xuanya is not hesitating. Anyway, there is plenty of time to ask at night. Let's practice first before proceeding. In the evening, Yi Qiu, who had cleaned up briefly, came down from upstairs and found that there were still faint cries in the entire internet cafe, which made Yi Qiu not know what was going on. Seeing Ouyang Xuanya and Qinghua, Yi Qiu walked over and found that Ouyang Xuanya had been handing Qinghua paper. Yi Qiu could only ask curiously, "Boss, what's wrong?" Ouyang Xuanya looked at Yi Qiu thoughtfully and then answered for Qinghua, "Jia Shi's Yi Qiu has retired. As a loyal fan, I can't bear it in my heart." Oh. Upon hearing these words, Yi Qiu also suddenly realized and comforted Qinghua. "Boss, it's okay. Yi Qiu has retired, is Yi Qiu still here?" Upon hearing this, Qinghua couldn't help but give him a blank glance, but he also calmed down and got up before going back. Ouyang Xuanya also stood up and said to Yi Qiu beside him, "You must be Yi Qiu." "Oh." Yi Qiu asked with a puzzled voice, "Why do you think so? Even though my names are different." 2 points. Ouyang Xuanya paused for a moment before saying, "First, yesterday when you and I were in a dungeon, when your weapon turned into a spear, your combat style was 90% similar to that of Yi Ji Qiu. The only difference was the skill, after all, Junmo Shao was just starting. Secondly, I checked Yi Qiu's information and found that he has a title called Honor Textbook, which is proficient in all professions of honor online game. Yesterday, you almost without thinking, pointed out my skills for playing gunslinger, and then guided me on how to operate the profession of God gunslinger. So, besides Yi Qiu, I can't think of anyone who has such strong understanding ability for different professions. You know, even my sister, a 5-year-old veteran player, hasn't fully understood the profession of gunner yet." "Well, you're right, I'm indeed Yi Qiu," Yi Qiu said calmly. "Why retire? Although you are almost in your 30s now, your basic consciousness and hand speed are still there, aren't you? And why did you change your name? Ouyang Xuanya asked. If I don't retire, can I stay and practice with you? Yi Xiu is my real name, and as for Yi Qiu, that's the name of my twin brother, Yi Xiu said with a smile. Upon hearing these words, Ouyang Xuanya was taken aback for a moment, then smiled and said, "Hee, I see. Alright, don't pretend to be a sleeping dragon there, hurry up and get on the number." Yi Xiu stood up and said to Ouyang Xuanya. Okay, right away, Ouyang Xuanya responded. As soon as they went online, the two of them received a bunch of messages, but compared to Ouyang Xuanya, Yi Xiu's message column was called terrifying. Various news such as adding friends, practicing on behalf of others, wooing, pimping, building relationships, and seeking recommendations are constantly emerging. You're amazing, Ouyang Xuanya couldn't find any words to describe it. If you have 4 or 5 first kills in a night, you can do it, Yi Xiu said calmly. He was already accustomed to this kind of treatment when Honor first opened the server. At this point, a friend message is displayed. Great God, here we are. Upon seeing it, Ouyang Xuanya saw a mage named Tian Qi. Yi Xiu replied, Where has Xiaoya gone? What kind of ghost is Xiaoyu? Ouyang Xuanya couldn't resist roast. It was the mid-month sleep last night, don't you think this call is particularly friendly? Yi Xiu replied. Ouyang Xuanya thought for a moment and it seemed to be true. De Shen, because Yi Shen has retired, he went to drink today when he was feeling down, said Tian Qi. Upon hearing this, Yi Xiu couldn't help but laugh and cry. The young man was still a fan of himself. It's okay, anyway Xuantianyan is also here. It's the same whether there's him or not in tonight's spider cave, Yi Xiu said. Okay, keep walking, said Tianqi. Ouyang Xuanya quickly controlled his Xuantianyan to follow suit. He spent the whole afternoon practicing and didn't go much to dungeons, so he had to keep up with the main army. Open. Yi Xiu typed and said. Tianqi also typed in response and said, Yi Xiu clicked OK, and the 5 of them entered the spider cave directly. As soon as they entered, they immediately prompted for a hidden boss, and without further ado, they went straight to work. A group of green spiders rushed forward first, and when Ouyang Xuanya saw this, he simply swiped his mouse and aimed his 2 guns at it, shooting indiscriminately. Jun Mo Shao on the side also responded with a heavenly strike. These 2 people have a great cooperation, right? The 3 companions couldn't help but sigh as they looked at Jun Mo Shao and Xian Tianyun leading the way ahead. Another group of poisonous spiders rushed over, but this time, Ouyang Xuanya directly used the green machine gun to shoot. However, this time, besides Tian Qi and 3 others, including Yi Xiu, they also noticed that the bullets from the green machine gun seemed to be attacking in 2 rows. Sleeping trough, isn't it? Tian Qi exclaimed in surprise. Another person also sighed, this seems to be Do Gun, one of the famous operations of piercing the clouds with 1 shot. You said this Xuantianyan wouldn't be Zhou Zikai's nickname, right? The swordsman asked in a voice. How could it be that the professional god has come to join us in the dungeon? What are you thinking? The mage typed sarcastically, and have you seen the talkative Gun King before? 3 people can only sigh, what kind of person did they bring over? Only Yi Xiu found that the mouse on Ouyang Xuanya's right hand was constantly showing small dot scale shaking, which was even smaller than Zhou Zikai's, indicating that Ouyang Xuanya had a very strong sense of operation. Great God, powerful. Tian Qi and the 3 of them didn't know what to say, so they could only shout 666 from the side. Yi Xiu was also speechless, so only the 2 of us were able to output, so he shouted out loud, come over here, what's going on? Ouyang Xuanya didn't think anything of it either. He continued to shoot at the spider swarm while directing Yi Xiu to transfer the spider swarm's hatred onto him. Yi Xiudao did not refuse either. However, at this moment, a sudden mutation occurred, and a giant spider jumped out from behind a tree and rushed towards Xuantian. Ouyang Xuanya was not panicked, and Jun Maxiao beside him lifted the spider into the air with a heavenly strike. Then Xuantian's two guns aimed at the spider and fired. In the final boss battle, Yi Xiu spoke out and said, "Stand up according to yesterday's position, and Xiantian will repair his sword from the side." I saw Jun Mo Xiao dodge left and right, constantly attacking, constantly attracting the boss's hatred and making him chase after Jun Mo Xiao. Tian Qi and the three of them also used their skills to harass from time to time. "The boss has gone berserk, don't stop attacking," Yi Xiu commanded while fighting. "Don't worry, big god," Tian Qi said, and then another wave of spiders rushed over. "I'm ready for residual blood, Xiantian is ready," Yi Xiu said. Speaking, Jun Mo smiled and rushed towards the spider boss. Ouyang Xuanya seized the opportunity and fired a floating bullet directly, successfully killing it. "Wow, thank you two great gods," Tian Qi typed and said. "If you have any materials to take, please feel free to ask for what you need." Yi Xiu typed in response. "I want this spider eye." Ouyang Xuanya hesitated for a moment and said. "Hehe, it's easy to say," Tian Qi typed. "That's it for now, let's go." After finishing speaking, Yi Xiu and Ouyang Xuanya will directly exit the dungeon. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Double Player Dungeon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Double Player Dungeon. How about honor having fun? Yi Xiu smiled and said to Ouyang Xuanya. "Not bad, if it's just my first time playing games, it's pretty good." "I won't get tired of it," Ouyang Xuanya said with a smile. "I'll play more often afterwards," Yi Xiu said. "Wow, great god, take care of yourself in the future," Ouyang Xuanya also joked. "That's easy to say." Yi Xiu nodded and said, "How about it? Are you interested in the next dungeon? Just the two of us, won't we form a team?" Ouyang Xuanya asked with some confusion. "Teaming up requires dividing things, it's not cost-effective. Isn't having you enough?" Yi Xiu responded. "I think this dungeon has the materials you need, don't you?" "I'm sorry to split people," Ouyang Xuanya joked. Yi Xiu laughed and then said, "You don't use silver weapons, and you don't make weapons. Why do you need so many materials?" "Who said no? Believe it or not, I'll throw the design in your face tomorrow," Ouyang Xuanya said. "Let's wait and see," Yi Xiu said. In a daze, Yi Xiu seemed to see a figure on him. He was the same way back then. Speaking of which, Yi Xiu brought Ouyang Xuanya to the dungeon of the Skeleton Cemetery, a small dungeon at levels 15.20. Yi Xiu's Jun Mo Xiao was at level 17, and Ouyang Xuanya's Xiantian was at level 16. With these two goods and their skills, going in together would be like abusing vegetables. If Tian Qi and the others were to be released, they would have to take care of them in their spare time. "So what do you need?" Ouyang Xuanya asked Yi Xiu while pressing the keyboard. "There is a demand for materials such as the sword of the boss skull warrior, the bone marrow of the lord, and the bone bottle." "That's all for now," Yi Xiu replied. "Big brother, this is all the things that the boss dropped. You took most of it in one go, and together I'm just a worker." Ouyang Xuanya suddenly felt like a big loser. Yi Xiu also smiled but remained silent. As soon as Jun Mo Xiao entered the dungeon, he threw out his spear and headed forward. Xiantian's double spears were responsible for the small monsters around him, and with the cooperation of the two, they quickly made away. In the boss battle, without Tian Qi's group of vegetable chickens, Ouyang Xuanya felt as if the battle had become much smoother and he quickly gave the boss a second. "How many more?" Yi Xiu asked, but he didn't want to ask a question in this tone. "Come on, Xuanya, hurry up and go to bed. Didn't you see that it's almost 11 o'clock? Chengua's voice suddenly sounded from behind. Upon hearing this, Ouyang Xuanya felt a bit embarrassed and said, "Sister, at least I'm also a PhD, and besides, I don't have to attend classes. As long as you are underage for a day, you don't want to stay up late, that's what my aunt said," Chenghua replied to Ouyang Xuanya in a declarative tone. Damn it, how could mom do this? Ouyang Xuanya was so depressed that he had to go upstairs in frustration. Before leaving, he didn't forget to ask Yi Xiu to help him practice a lower level, because he had nothing to do except brush materials at night. After Ouyang Xuanya left, Yi Xiu continued to brush materials. The next morning. "I'll go, old Yi. What's wrong with you? You're cultivating immortality." During breakfast, Ouyang Xuanya looked at Yi Xiu's 2 black circles under his eyes, his face full of surprise. "It's okay, it's just that there were too many college students who stayed up all night last night and had to be busy helping you improve. Some of them couldn't handle it, so that's all," Yi Xiu replied. "When even the great God is powerful and unable to follow his heart," Ouyang Xuanya joked. "I'm not a fairy," Yi Xiu felt his brain buzzing and urgently needed sleep. He didn't say much to Ouyang Xuanya and got up and walked upstairs. "By the way, there's someone named Blue River who wants to add you. Look at the reply yourself, I didn't click agree on your number," Yi Xiu reminded as he turned around before going upstairs. "Well, I see." Ouyang Xuanya agreed and prepared to insert the card and number. As soon as it goes online, the system prompts the player Blue River to request a friend and check his level. Level 23. It hasn't been a few days since the 10th zone started, so he should also be an internet-addicted teenager. But Ouyang Xuanya didn't know that when 2 or 3 people rotate an account under the professional team's trade union, there is basically no break time for that account. Internet-addicted teenagers. Not existing. So, in order to promote the healthy development of the online environment, Ouyang Xuanya decisively chose to refuse, but then another message popped up. "Player Blue River requests to add you as a friend. Do you agree?" Good guy, he sent nearly 30 applications in one night, and Ouyang Xuanya couldn't help but admire this person's perseverance. Therefore, Ouyang Xuanya had to choose to agree, otherwise, he probably would continue to add him later. "Hello, I'm Lanhe from Lanshi Pavilion. Let's get to know each other." Just after agreeing and sending a message, I didn't hesitate at all, just got straight to the point. "Hello, Lanshi Pavilion, what is it?" said Ouyang Xuanya. Upon hearing this reply, Blue River in front of the screen immediately sprayed out the water he had just drunk, and then took a sip of water and sprayed it directly onto the screen. The guy across from him is probably intentionally playing tricks on him. Looking at Blue River, who had not replied to messages for a long time, Ouyang Xuanya was also puzzled, but thought that he was just a newcomer in the industry, so he typed back and said, "I'm sorry, I really don't know. I just got to know Honor a few days ago." Newcomer. A newcomer killed 5 people in the novice village in one night, including Yu and Jun Maxiao. Lanhe is not good at roast, so he has to patiently explain the situation of Lanshi Pavilion and let Ouyang Xuanya know about it. Looking at this long text, Ouyang Xuanya suddenly had an idea. It seems like it's for promotion. He also understood that the introduction of Blue River must be somewhat watery, after all, his own union must be introduced in a more high-end manner, otherwise it's not easy to attract people. So Ouyang Xuanya still searched online for information about Lanshi Pavilion. Let me take a look, Blue Creek Pavilion, a professional club that supports the Blue Rain team behind the scenes and provides resources for the team. The team is in the Ming Dynasty, and the guild is in the dark. It is one of the top guilds in the Gods field. Ouyang Xuanya carefully read the introduction above. The Realm of Gods. Ouyang Xuanya wondered, the 10th district is the 10th district, how could another realm of gods come out? Make him quickly check, so as not to wait for the Blue River across from him to send text again and feel uncomfortable. After speaking, he directly typed and searched. Good guy. Now Ouyang Xuanya is becoming more and more interested in glory, so he typed and asked Lanhe, do you also have a number in the realm of gods? Oh. Blue River was puzzled and suddenly understood. Blue River forgot that there is something called Baidu in this world, so he typed back and said, yes, there is indeed a large account, Blue Bridge Chuanxue. So, are you running to the new district and becoming a newcomer to Huahua? Ouyang Xuanya continued to ask. That's it. Blue River replied, the unions under each major team are all for the team. In order to promote the reputation of our own club, we basically establish unions in the new district to attract new players, and also be responsible for helping the team search for good candidates. Our main player Ouyang Xuanya was recruited during online games. Have you heard of it? No, Ouyang Xuanya replied by typing. These days, even those who play Glory don't know the Sword Saint. Blue River is also speechless for a while, so he has to continue asking, so are you interested in coming to our Blue Creek Pavilion Guild? Forget it, I haven't had any plans to work on it yet. Besides, I'm an otaku who likes to stay at home. Ouyang Xuanya shook her head and expressed her unwillingness to join the Blue Creek Pavilion. Since you are not interested in processing, we can talk about something else. Blue River sent this sentence and then sent the customs clearance records that our union needs now. Ouyang Xuanya used the excuse of not having time now, waiting for Jun Mo Xiao to wake up at night and come together, so that the record wouldn't fall off and he could pass it off. Okay, I'll reply to you tonight. Blue River was also very refreshing. After Ouyang Xuanya finished his communication, he continued to level up. At noon, Ouyang Xuanya, who was just about to shut down, suddenly remembered something that seemed to have been told to Yi Xiu last night. Oh, by the way, making silver weapons. Ouyang Xuanya said and then searched online for the method of making silver weapons. He remembered that his elder sister Qinghua and Yi Xiu had both said, self-made may not be the strongest, but the strongest must be self-made. After searching, it was found that there was not much production data for Yin Wu, and there was also a bunch of messy data. Ouyang Xuanya didn't even know how to do it because it was impossible to investigate. Ouyang Xuanya sighed, but he didn't give up. He continued to search online to see if anyone could know the method of making silver weapons. He kept tinkering until lunchtime, but Ouyang Xuanya couldn't figure out how Inwu was actually made. No, I'm a great doctor. I've been stumped by a small online game. It's absolutely not acceptable to be laughed at if I say it out loud, Ouyang Xuanya cheered himself. If I don't figure it out, wouldn't I be laughed to death by that guy Yi Xiu tonight? Ouyang Xuanya cursed and turned off his computer, then started eating, intending to continue his struggle in the afternoon. After eating, he headed straight to the computer, entered a row of website domain names in the browser, and then entered. What caught the eye was a very strange string of Chinese codes, and Ouyang Xuanya accurately found one of the web pages and clicked to enter. Entering the search bar, Ouyang Xuanya entered the keywords honor, silver marshal, double spear, and production. Subsequently, Ouyang Xuanya saw a bunch of messy attributes and introductions. Ouyang Xuanya clicked on a few of his favorite attributes on it and then confirmed. In less than a minute, the web page displayed all the relevant data about Yin Wu, including the characteristics of various parts and skills. Double spear. Left hand. Lei Guang weight. 3 kilograms, weight of 2 together, attack speed. 8 physical attack. 130, up to 710 at full level, spell attack. 110, maximum level can be increased to 705, physical strength, plus 10, up to plus 25, strength, plus 15, up to plus 30, spirit, plus 8, up to plus 15, reaction, plus 13, up to plus 35, skill. Lightning strike. There is a chance to deal 5% lightning element damage when hit, and for every 25 mana points consumed by the character, critical strike damage will increase by 10%, stacking up to 3 times. Right hand. Heavenly Fire, detailed data can be found in Thunderbolt above, skill. Holy Cut. There is a chance to deal 5% of the current attack power with flame damage, reduce enemy movement and attack speed by 10%, increase total damage taken by 15%, deal 1% flame damage per second for 5 seconds, and have a 10% chance of being stunned. For weapon details and styles, refer to the second and self-cutting of the collapse and collapse. After reading these data, Ouyang Xuanya couldn't help but be surprised to have a big mouth. He didn't expect that the data inputted casually would create such a perverted weapon. So he downloaded the drawings, took screenshots, and sent them to QQ. Mysterious and mysterious. Screenshot, mysterious and mysterious. How about this silver martial arts? Isn't it good? Pride, 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 1 minute later. Princess Chi-Chi. I'll go, my big brother. Where did you get it? Doubts, mysterious and mysterious. Designed by myself, not bad, right? Pride, Princess Chi-Chi. Do you think I will believe it? What major do you have that I don't know? Also, you haven't learned modeling at all. Contemptuous, 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 mysterious and mysterious. Oh, do you not believe it? Okay, you can find a modeler for me to come and try. Looking forward to, Princess Chi-Chi. Mysterious and mysterious. Looking forward to, Princess Chi-Chi. You can take another play naughty. Knocking the head, mysterious and mysterious. Alright, I admit that I use some unconventional means. Fingertip universe, Princess Chi-Chi. Tell me, where did it come from? It's related to whether you can still live. Served with a stick, mysterious and mysterious. Well, it was calculated with the help of Tianqi too. Sweating, Princess Chi-Chi. Ouyang Xuanya, you are amazing. You even used a supercomputer to design silver weapons for you. Are you not afraid of committing crimes? Admired, mysterious and mysterious. What charges? Bad laugh, Princess Chi-Chi. Illegally occupying public resources. Knocking the head, mysterious and mysterious. It seems like I am just half a public servant myself. Besides, there was already a part of the Tianqi 2 that I designed, so what happened when it was used? Pride, Princess Chi-Chi. You're amazing, why don't you help me design one too? Looking forward to, mysterious and mysterious. Farewell, dog head, Princess Chi-Chi. Damn it, don't let me find you. If I find you, I'll be dead. Anger, Ouyang Xuanya ignored Dai Yanqi on the other side and closed QQ directly. He was just showing off, quack quack quack. He had already figured out what expression Yi Xiu would have on his face at night. That's it for today. The new version is updated, and I'm ready to go draw my uncle. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Records. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Records. It was still evening, and Yi Xiuzai crawled out of his dog's nest. Oh, old Yi, come and have dinner, Ouyang Xuanya greeted Yi Xiu with a smile on his face. Oh. Yi Xiu walked over in response and sat next to Ouyang Xuanya. Why did you suddenly treat someone to dinner today? Is there something wrong? Huh, you're really smart, Ouyang Xuanya said. You'll find out later. Okay, Yi Xiu shrugged nonchalantly, showing no concern for being either a traitor or a thief. After dinner, the two of them sat down at the front desk. As soon as they sat down, Ouyang Xuanya couldn't wait to show Yi Xiu the contents of the USB drive. How about it, awesome? Ouyang Xuanya placed the silver martial design in front of Yi Xiu. My work by Ouyang Xuanya, who dares to question it? Who dares to question it? Yi Xiu looked at the silver weapon design on the screen. He thought Ouyang Xuanya was just casually talking about it last night, but he didn't expect to finish it in a day. Moreover, based on the modeling of the parameters above, all he needed to do was find the materials for this weapon on honor. "This is your work," Yi Xiu smiled and said, "It's not easy." Yi Xiu looked at Ouyang Xuanya with a stinky face, and now he felt even more that Ouyang Xuanya's figure was overlapping with an old friend, except for his personality. Ouyang Xuanya saw that Yi Xiu did not doubt himself, so he couldn't help wiping a cold sweat from his head and said, "It's fortunate that he wasn't discovered. Stop talking nonsense and quickly show me the results." "This is the final product, I don't know if there are any shortcomings," urged Ouyang Xuanya. "Hee, don't worry, it's difficult to find a match for this weapon on honor at the moment, especially with the effects of your silver weapon including dizziness and attack speed reduction." Yi Xiu controlled the mouse and clicked on the 3D model of the silver weapon a few times, then enlarged the image and studied it carefully. The design of the silver weapon, Ouyang Xuanya, is truly a young genius. He showcases all the advantages and disadvantages of this silver weapon, and Yi Xiu secretly admires it from the bottom of his heart while watching. "Not bad, everything about modeling has been done. Apart from the subsequent upgrades, it seems that you only need to handle the materials now," commented Yi Xiu. "So you're going to knock on the bamboo pole of Lanxi Pavilion?" Ouyang Xuanya raised her eyebrows, her tone quite playful. "That's right, how do you know?" Yi Xiu was a bit puzzled. "That person named Blue River had a showdown with me this morning, asking if we have any ideas," Ouyang Xuanya said with a natural expression. "That's good, register." Yi Xiu asked. "Up." Ouyang Xuanya nodded clearly, "I'm also worried about the materials. Since the other party has spoken, why not do it?" Yi Xiu nodded in agreement. "However, old Yi, it's better to be gentle. In the future, you'll have to work hard in the realm of gods. Now that you've offended the Blue Creek Pavilion, how can you level up in the future?" Ouyang Xuanya advised. "Don't worry, I have a sense of propriety," Yi Xiu said. Not long after it was launched, a message from Blue River popped up. "How are you thinking, brother?" Blue River asked. Yi Xiu replied by typing, "Add 5 more white wolf sharp teeth." Upon seeing it, Lan He's face turned black instantly. Nima, in addition, the 10th district of Blue Creek Pavilion was almost drained by this guy, so he had to say, "Brother, you're a bit of a lion's mouth. Our Blue Creek Pavilion family is not rich, so you're going to drain my savings. Is it too much? I also want a few more Shan Fangs," Yi Buxiu typed, and Ouyang Xuanya couldn't help but twitch his lips when he saw it. He now knows what shamelessness is. Blue River also looked gloomy when he saw it, he had never seen someone so shameless before. "Okay, that's it, where's the other brother? What do you need?" Lan He looked at Ouyang Xuanya and typed. Ouyang Xuanya thought it was better not to pit Blue River too badly, so he typed back, "I'm here to level up, there's no need." Seeing this answer, Blue River suddenly had an impulse to shed tears. "Alright, let's add a guild first, so that the dungeon record can list the guild name." She then sent out an invitation. "Okay." Yi Xiu and Ouyang Xuanya immediately clicked to confirm. "So let's start." "Wait a moment, let's take the pastor," Yi Xiu interrupted Blue River. "Don't want a pastor again." Blue River sent 2 question marks in a row. "Only in this way can there be output guarantee," Yi Xiu typed. "What should I do if I hang up without treatment?" Lan He was also speechless. What kind of person did he find? "It's okay, I have it. This time, I'll try the violent version of One Wave, and besides, there are still gods here," Yi Xiu smiled and typed. "Alright." As soon as he thought about these two being so busy in the beginner's dungeon, Lan had decided to let them try. Anyway, he didn't need to give any materials since the record wasn't broken, and it wasn't a loss, so he decided to level up. In no time, Blue River called the people over. Yi Xiu looked at them and said, a sorcerer and elemental mage, along with Blue River's swordsman, his divine spear, and scattered people, all live together. Brother, do you think this is okay? Blue River asked. Well, yes, ready to go. Yi Xiu nodded. Then let's enter the dungeon. Blue River finished speaking and walked in. As soon as he entered the dungeon, Yi Xiu typed and said, I am responsible for attracting monsters, the sorcerer is responsible for gathering monsters, the mage explodes the field, and the swordsman provides support. Xiantian, you can handle it yourself. Lanha doesn't know how many times he has used the ellipsis. He had a lot of fights with this guy last night while chatting. What do you mean to do it yourself? Are you trying to have the sharpshooter deliver it? How could there be such a friend? Just as Blue River was still thinking, Yi Xiu said, I'm up. Blue River, what do you say? Said the elemental mage Yun Gui on the channel. Lan he also had a headache and said, what else can I do? Go ahead. I'll go, flying gun, Blue River couldn't help but say as he looked at the sharpshooter. As one of the bearers of the Blue Creek Pavilion, Blue River certainly knows what flying gun is. As one of the top operations for the divine level character, Gun King, to shoot through the clouds with one shot, the difficulty of this operation can be imagined, because it requires a high rhythm of shooting frequency and relies on experience to determine the landing point. The difficulty of operating flying gun is also imaginable, and compared to flying guns, which can push the character far away with one shot, the flying gun requires continuous shooting to maintain the character's float, and requires constant control of the gun to control one's flying distance and altitude. In the entire glory, only Zhou Zikai's use of the flying gun technique can be described as perfect. But the flying gun used by Xuantian feels completely comparable to Zhou Zikai, and even surpasses it. Watching Ouyang Xuanyang's operation, Yi Xiu couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. He almost didn't react and asked, when did you learn flying gun? Just this morning, I watched Zhou Zikai's competition video and tried to operate it, and then I understood, Ouyang Xuanyang replied somewhat strangely. Ouyang Xuanyang has been very sensitive to numbers since childhood. As long as he imagines the data in his mind, his body will react accordingly. By analyzing and calculating, some data and actions can be perfectly reproduced, including various operations in honor. Blue River, this sharpshooter can't be Zhou Zikai's nickname, that's a flying gun, said the sorcerer Jiue Qingqing excitedly. Although Zhou Zikai is a professional player in reincarnation, it doesn't hinder Jiue Qingqing's fans. After all, Zhou Zikai is really handsome, and it's definitely not a problem to become a star idol or something without playing a professional role. At this moment, Lan He turned on his voice and looked at Ouyang Xuanyang's operation, which made him somewhat suspicious. However, as soon as he thought about this guy's way of speaking, he immediately denied it and said, it shouldn't be. This person is still very different from the Gun King. Think about his way of speaking, this Xuantian types more than 6 words each time. Blue River, that's true. Jiue Qingqing was also somewhat disappointed. She thought she had met her idol. As the last player in the Glory professional circle that journalists want to interview, Zhou Zikai basically never speaks more than 6 words with punctuation marks, which once made the manager of the Reincarnation Club very uncomfortable, wishing to put his mouth on Zhou Zikai. Those journalists all hope that Zhou Zikai can speak in a way that is at least half as good as Huang Xiaotian's. Chatting incessantly, Zhou Zikai remained silent and reserved, while Huang Xiaotian remained silent. Stop talking nonsense, let's leave this spring outing here. The demonic scholars should hurry up and gather the monsters. Yi Xiu's voice came from his earphones. In less than 5 minutes, all the monsters in the Frost Forest were lured together by Yi Xiu, and then only Goblin and the shaman screamed. Blue River is preparing for the silver light falling blade, Xiululu is preparing, let it go. Yi Xiu shouted in the channel, Xiantian is preparing the floating bullet, 1, 2, 3, let it go. Next is the tap shot, Yi Xiu continued to shout. Ouyang Xuanya reacted as soon as Yi Xiu spoke, firing a bullet at Goblin in front. Wherever the bullet passed, it was already Goblin's body. Green machine gun, Yi Xiu said. Ouyang Xuanya understood, but the trajectory of the two guns was divided into two lines for attack. Good guy, this time it's tick-tock, Blue River said as he looked at the screen. Now Blue River even suspected that it was Zhou Zikai's nickname on the other side. And have you noticed this person's hand speed? Yun Goe was also somewhat surprised. It's almost 300 plus already, said Jiue Qingqing with emotion. These two opponents are definitely experts, so even if we cannot recruit them, we must not offend them. Otherwise, with their skills, if we offend them, Lanshi Pavilion will still use them to work in the 10th district. Attract monsters, gather monsters, and finally kill monsters in one go. The cooperation of the 5 people was very good, especially the cooperation between Xian Tianyun and Jun Maxiao. In the eyes of Blue River, it was simply seamless. Every time Jun Maxiao didn't finish pulling the monsters, Xian Tianyun could always pull them back. In the final boss battle, it was simply a duo show between Jun Maxiao and Xian Tianyun. Sliding shovel, green machine gun, falling flower palm, a series of skills combined with the operation of Xian Tianyun, the divine marksman, managed to make the boss stiff, so. Congratulations to players Lan He, Yun Goe, Ji Yu Qingqing, Jun Mo Xiao, and Xian Tianyun from the Blue Creek Pavilion for breaking the record for the Frost Forest Dungeon, which took 18 minutes, 46 seconds, and 52 seconds. Wow, it's almost 3 minutes faster than last night. Alright, the record is also broken. Pay with one hand and deliver with the other. Jun Mo smiled and reached out his hand. It's easy to say. Blue River was also very happy this time. After all, this record is probably not broken without a level 30 or above, which is enough to make him excited for a period of time. As soon as Ouyang Xuanya and others placed their dungeons, the Glory 10th District Union Pioneering Group began a new round of uproar. Cheqianzi, Zongkeatang. Damn it, Lanshi Pavilion has broken the record again, this time it's almost 3 minutes fast. Night in the Cold Pond, dominant and mighty picture. Blue River, please give me some way to survive. Don't release such a great master every day. Solitary drinking, reincarnation. The key is that another one has come in. What kind of ghost is this divine gunman named Xuantianyan? Let's not talk about that scattered person named Jun Mo Xiao. Blue River, Blue Creek Pavilion. Hahaha, if you don't agree, I'll ask if you agree. The first 2 records are all from our Blue Creek Pavilion. Blue River now has great face, not only absorbing 2 great masters, but also showing off among this group of people, feeling very comfortable. But at this moment, players Xian Tianyun and Jun Maxiao have exited the Blue Creek Pavilion Guild. Seeing this, Blue River almost had a myocardial infarction. Cheqianzi, Zongkeatang. Hahaha, it's another second to retreat. If you don't slap your face, I'll ask you if it's funny, 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 funny. Night in the Cold Pond, dominant and mighty picture. Comic, 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 lonely drinking, reincarnation. Funny, 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 backlit bullet, 100 Flowers Valley. Comical, 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 Blue River, Blue Creek Pavilion. Angry, you shameless people are also reassuring. Cheqianzi, Zongkeatang. Cut, it's like we don't have the people from Lanshi Pavilion in Zongkeatang. Contemptuous, Blue River, Blue Creek Pavilion. I'm too lazy to pay attention to you. Go and level up. After reading the message sent by the undercover agent, Che Qianzi knew that Xian Tianyun and Jun Maxiao must have been hired by Lan He as proxy fighters, and they are also extraordinary proxy fighters. It is highly likely that they are experts, and maybe they can also be hired by themselves. However, it is unclear what cost Lan He has paid. Moreover, based on the online situation, Jun Maxiao is currently only available at night, while Xian Tianyun is available during the day, the overlap time is basically between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. in the evening. Chekianzi glanced at the current time and found that it was already over 10 p.m. It seems that if we want to come together, we can only wait for tomorrow. After completing the dungeons, Ouyang Xuanya and the two of them spent a few low-level dungeons together. After brushing some materials, Ouyang Xuanya was ready to go offline. Before going offline, Yi Xiu distributed some of the materials that Lan He had just given to Ouyang Xuanya, which made Ouyang Xuanya a little confused. So he asked, "What are you giving me these for? Aren't you going to make silver martial arts?" I looked at the design and these happen to be some of the materials. "You can save them for now," Yi Xiu said with a smile. "So good." Ouyang Xuanya was a bit surprised upon hearing it. "Of course, do you think I just asked Blue River for materials?" Yi Xiu said as he completed the material handover. "Okay, come on, go to bed first," Ouyang Xuanya said to Yi Xiu as he pulled out his card. Yi Xiu smiled and nodded. Ouyang Xuanya finished the game and ran back to his room to lie down. Because there will be guests arriving tomorrow. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Tang Rou's Arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Tang Rou's arrival early the next morning. Ouyang Xuanya didn't wake up naturally, but let out a painful cry from Chenghua. Bang, oh, my goodness. Chenghua, who fell off the sofa, let out a painful scream and woke Ouyang Xuanya up. He was so scared that he ran out without even changing his clothes. "What's going on?" Ouyang Xuanya asked Chenghua as he opened the door. "It's okay, go sleep with you," Chenghua said angrily. "Oh," said Ouyang Xuanya, ready to turn around. "Wait a moment," Chenghua called out to Ouyang Xuanya. "What else is there?" "Sister," Ouyang Xuanya asked. "The guests will arrive soon, hurry up and tidy up," said Chenghua. "Guest, who is it?" Ouyang Xuanya asked, pretending to be puzzled. "Knowing it, Tang Ruji is coming, hurry up." Chenghua glared at Ouyang Xuanya. "Oh," Ouyang Xuanya responded and went busy. Around 10 noon, a girl carrying a big bag arrived at the entrance of the internet cafe. Respectfully welcome Tang Rou, Ouyang Xuanya enthusiastically walked forward as soon as he saw Tang Rou, his movements resembling that of the imperial household manager welcoming the Empress Dowager. Before Tang Rou could speak, Chenghua slapped Ouyang Xuanya on the head, leaving him inexplicably beaten. "Damn it, why are you hitting me again, sister?" Ouyang Xuanya looked at Chenghua in confusion. "You are not happy every day without a play naughty, aren't you?" Chenghua said angrily. Watching Chenghua and Ouyang Xuanya joking with each other, Tang Rou couldn't help but laugh and said, "All right, Guogua, go ahead first." "Oh, okay," Chenghua agreed, then gave Ouyang Xuanya a gloomy look and said, "I won't help move things yet." After that, he entered the room. Ouyang Xuanya quickly agreed and then went to carry his luggage with all his might. Upstairs, Chenghua and Tang Rou set Ouyang Xuanya aside and chatted on their own. "I heard you recruited someone a few days ago." Tang Rou tore open a lollipop and said while eating. "Don't mention it, just mentioning it makes me angry," Chenghua said with some anger. "What's wrong?" Tang Rou wondered. "This guy turned my younger brother into an internet-addicted teenager as soon as he arrived. It's estimated that in a few days, my aunt's imperial edict will be of no use to that kid," Chenghua said dejectedly. "Oh, isn't it good if someone can control Xuanya?" Tang Rou was also puzzled. It should be said that Ouyang Xuanya, a genius like him, has good self-discipline. Mind him, as long as there are no problems, let him do it. Chenghua has completely given up now, but that new feeling has some roots. Ah Xian, a proud novice, was taught by Yi Xiu in just a few days. "Are you sure that Xuanya doesn't have his own intelligence?" And isn't honor quite simple? Tang Rou said. Ah, you just go down and take a look yourself. Chen Guo also shook his head and supported his forehead. People who know him well say that glory is simple, and when you're together, you're just a vegetable chicken. Tang Rou went down, while Chen Guo continued to wash up upstairs. He was awakened in the morning and is now speaking slowly. Tang Rou walked downstairs and found a group of people gathered in front of a computer, whispering something. Tang Rou walked over curiously. It was discovered that Ouyang Xuanya was sitting in front of the computer, unsure of what he was operating, and could only be learned from the onlookers that he was currently playing honor. Hey, well behaved, this operation should be at the professional level. That's not it, I didn't see the guns coming out. What's wrong with this? The Z-shaped shake in my hand just now was so small that it was called a micro operation. I'm afraid this hand speed needs to be over 200. Upon hearing the crowd's discussion, Tang Rou couldn't help but approach and ask, Xuanya, what are you doing? Oh, it's Sister Tang Rou. I'm leveling up, do you want to join me? Ouyang Xuanya turned to Tang Rou and said, he seems to remember that Tang Rou doesn't have an honor account card. It's okay, Xiao Tang. I'll lend you mine, Chen Guo, who had finished washing up, said to Tang Rou from upstairs. Boss, you shouldn't let Xiao Tang do something because you can't do it on your own. The speaker was clearly a regular at the internet cafe, teasing in a voice. Fuck you, Chen Guo scolded with a smile. Tang Rou didn't care either, after all, she had been a good friend for many years, and it was only right to help, let alone this small favor. At 3 p.m., Yi Xiu woke up for the first time. When he arrived downstairs, Yi Xiu found that the internet cafe was not only overcrowded, but also a bit lively, especially in the two locations in Zone C, which were surrounded by a group of people. Yi Xiu also walked over with a lively attitude and found out that it was Ouyang Xuanya. He smiled and didn't speak anymore, and then became a member of the onlookers. At this moment, a pair of hands appeared behind Yi Xiu and patted him on the forehead. He then turned his head and realized it was his own boss, so he smiled. Boss, can you change your habit of slapping people's heads? Yi Xiu looked at Chen Guo and said in silence. You mind me, Chen Guo rolled his eyes and said, how's it going? What's going on? Yi Xiu asked, suddenly saying, who can react? Xiao Tang and Xian, these two people are operating. Chen Guo also said angrily, isn't this a clear question? Oh, this. Yi Xiu nodded. It's pretty good, it's quite talented. Why don't you give it a try, suggested Chen Guo. With whom, Ouyang? Yi Xiu asked. Of course it's Xiao Tang. You and Xian have a deep understanding. What's there to have fun with? Let me take a look at the scattered people, Chen Guofu said. Okay, boss, should we let her? Yi Xiu asked. Get out of here, you think Xiao Tang wants you to let him go, Chen Guo scolded. Oh, okay. Yi Xiu said. After speaking, Yi Xiu walked towards the seat next to Ouyang Xuanya, landed in honor, and then opened a correction field to invite chasing Yanxiao. Tang Rou agreed without hesitation when she saw someone inviting her to play in the arena. She also heard the conversation between Chen Guo and Yi Xiu just now. Hey boss, do you want some colorful hair or something? Yi Xiu said and even touched his pocket. There's no cigarette left. What kind of gimmicks? For example, winning a pack of cigarettes or something, suggested Yi Xiu. Chen Guo almost died of anger and thought to himself, are you a smoker who doesn't smoke for a day and will die? But Tang Rou became interested and said, sure, but I don't smoke, that's all. Then she took out 100 yuan from her wallet. That's okay. Yi Xiu was also happy, after all, 100 yuan can buy several packages. Ouyang Xuanya on the side also smiled but remained silent, just stopping to look at the two solos. Chen Guo looked at him with great interest and suddenly asked, Xian, who do you think will win? Sister, do you want to hear the truth or lie? Ouyang Xuanya smiled bitterly upon hearing this. Sister's question was too profound for him to answer. Of course it's true, Chen Guo said with a smile. To be honest, it's 5/5 open, Yi Xiu 5/5 open, and Ro Jia cracks open, said Ouyang Xuanya. Upon hearing this, Chen Guo was also taken aback and continued, what about the lies? They haven't fought yet, it's difficult to judge. When the world is uncertain, we are both dark horses, Ouyang Xuanya said with a pretense of depth. Cut, Chen Guo pursed his lips, of course she understood. Tang Rou frowned when she saw that Ouyang Xuanya was not optimistic about her, but as Ouyang Xuanya also said, when the world is uncertain, we are all dark horses. But in fact, Ouyang Xuanya still hasn't said in the following text. When the world is uncertain, you and I are both dark horses, but only I am a dark horse, and you are a bull and horse. Starting. Yi Xiu asked. Tang Rou responded. The map where the two faced off was the smallest arena, so the competition was all about technique, and Tang Rou also refused Chen Guo's off-field guidance. She wanted to see what skills Yi Xiu, who could even tame Ouyang Xuanya, had. Jun Mo Xiao, controlled by Yi Xiu, made no unnecessary movements and charged directly towards chasing Yanxia. Tang Rou rarely plays honor, and it's basically Chen Guo pulling her to play in the arena. Although her consciousness is not as rich as Yi Xiu's, she has a good piano foundation, so she can have a slight advantage in hand speed. But Yi Xiu has also played the piano before, and is even better than Tang Rou. However, when dealing with Tang Rou as a newcomer, there is no need to exert all his strength. Otherwise, at the beginning of chasing Yanxia, he would be directly linked to death by Jun Mo Xiao. So as soon as Jun Mo Xiao started moving, Xuanxia fired a shot directly, but Yi Xiu dodged with a Z shake. Then Jun Mo Xiao drew a sword from the 1000 machine umbrella, followed by the swordsman's skill. Blade pulling and slash. But Xuanxia just stepped back and then fired an anti-tank gun. When Tang Rou thought she could dodge now, Jun Mo Xiao's 1000 machine umbrella in his hand changed into a spear, catching Tang Rou off guard. Just as Tang Rou was still manipulating the mouse to find the direction of Jun Mo Xiao, the 1000 machine umbrella turned into a machine gun again, shooting at Xuanxia with just one move. But Tang Rou didn't panic. These few attempts didn't take away much blood from Yanxia, and then a cannon shot passed by. Tang Rou thought Jun Mo Xiao would take away blood, but only hit a shadow clone. Both of their mice were moving rapidly. Tang Rou was looking for an opportunity to fire, while Yi Xiu was constantly using his skills. Xuanxia was beaten to the point where only the last trace of blood was left. Finally, Jun Mo Xiao aimed the 1000 machine umbrella at Xuanxia again, and so on. Falling to the ground in the mist. Chen Guo also smiled when she saw the situation. That's what she wanted, because Tang Rou always said glory was simple, so Chen Guo couldn't use anything to arouse Tang Rou's interest. Just as Chen Guo wanted to comfort Tang Rou, Yi Xiu said calmly, it's right to operate quickly, but there's no consciousness at all. His judgment is basically zero, so he's a beginner. Chen Guo is also very angry. If Tang Rou is a novice, what is she, a novice plus? Come again, Tang Rou said somewhat regretfully. She now knew why Ouyang Xuanya admired Yi Xiu so much, and her competitiveness had been aroused. A new round began, but this time, Yi Xiu didn't let go at all. Tang Rou didn't even play a single skill and was directly linked to death by Yi Xiu. Come again. Tang Rou continued to use these two words. Lost again. Come again. Still lost. Come again. Enter again. Good guy, it's true that there's no emotional connection in esports, Ouyang Xuanya thought to himself, so he stood up and said to Yi Xiu, come on, old Yi, don't be cruel. Chen Guo also came out to smooth things out and said, all right, let's go. Let's relax, Xiao Tang. Follow me, inhale, exhale. Old Yi, it's time to use the dungeon. In order to prevent Yi Xiu, the straight man, from continuing to stimulate Tang Rou, Ouyang Xuanya could only use the dungeon to lure Yi Xiu away. Didn't you see that Tang Rou was about to cry? At this moment, Chen Guo also took Tang Rou away and gave her guidance on life. Upstairs. Guo, I've made a decision. Tang Rou seemed to have made some decision. What will be decided? Chen Guo asked. I also want to play Glory, Tang Rou said. Chen Guo was also happy to hear this. He had been busy for so long just to lure Tang Rou into the company, so he smiled and said, then I'll go get your account card. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Leveling and Monster Hunting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Leveling and Monster Hunting. Xiao Tang, what profession are you planning to play? Chen Guo said seriously to Tang Rou. Honor's career choice is very cautious. If you choose the wrong one, you will have to start a new account. After all, not everyone is called Yi Xiu. I haven't figured it out yet. Do you have any good recommendations for Guo? Tang Rou said, isn't it like Yi Xiu? Chen Guo was startled and quickly waved his hand, saying, he played scattered people because of that weapon. Don't learn it, Xiao Tang. Didn't Yi Xiu say he made it himself? Just make one, that's all, Tang Rou said without hesitation. Well, how to put it, I can't make that weapon. Chen Guo was a bit embarrassed when asked, after all, those who can make weapons that can transform should be at the level of great gods. These people are basically kept as Buddha statues in major clubs, who dares to casually release them. Why don't you play as a gunner like me, Xiao Tang? You've been using my account for so long, anyway. Chen Guo immediately changed the topic, otherwise this girl might not be able to turn around in Yinwu. No, Guo. By the way, what did Xiao Xian play with? Tang Rou asked. The sharpshooter is also a branch of the gunman genre. Xiao Tang, you wouldn't want to play the sharpshooter, would you? Chen Guo said somewhat incredulously, forget it, Xiao Tang. Ah Xian said playing this is because only the sharpshooter can keep up with his reflex nerves. You also know what situation Ah Xian is in. Indeed, it is estimated that there is not a single person in the entire honor professional circle who can have a reflex like Ouyang Xuanya. Tang Rou was also pondering for a moment before suddenly thinking of something and saying, Guo, I remember you often said about a very powerful person called Do, what profession is that? Upon hearing this, Chen Guo became enthusiastic and said, Do Shen Yi Ji Qiu. Battle Mage. Yes, that's it, I'll choose that one, Tang Rou said. Let me tell you about the Battle Mage. Forget it, I guess you won't understand Tang either. Let's take a look at the video. Chen Guo knew that Tang Rou was just a proud novice now, so he could only explain through the video so that Tang Rou could understand faster. At this moment, Yi Xiu also walked over and saw the two of them watching a competition video of Yi Zhiqiu. He couldn't help but speak up and say, oh, Xiao Tang wants to play as a battle mage. Chen Guo immediately retorted, you have to take care of it. I can teach you. Yi Xiu spread out his hand, appearing quite innocent, as if it wasn't him who had just killed his sister and preached. Cut, there is a strategy written by Yi Shen, and I still need you to teach me. Chen Guo was too lazy to pay attention to him. Boss, your strategy is from a long time ago. With so many updates now, the strategy is no longer suitable for current battle mages, Yi Xiu said earnestly. At this moment, Ouyang Xuanya also walked over and couldn't help but speak up when he heard their conversation. Sister, why don't you let old Yi give it a try? It's not a loss anyway, and besides, you can't find a good master now, can you? Chen Guo got angry when he heard this and said, hey, why are you turning your elbow outward? Are I your sister or is he your brother? Tang Rou quickly grabbed Chen Guo and said, forget it, Guo. Xiao Xian is also right, after all, he won against me. That's it. Chen Guo finally compromised and said harshly, Yi Xiu, whether you teach well or not, I won't deduct your salary. Upon hearing this, Yi Xiu smiled and agreed, I understand. After Chen Guo and Tang Rou left, Ouyang Xuanya couldn't help but speak up and ask, are you really planning to teach? Otherwise, what do you think I'm doing now? Yi Xiu said while revising the strategy. You just hit Sister Rou into autism, and now you're helping, it feels so fake. Ouyang Xuanya pursed her lips and said. Fighting is real fighting, and teaching is also real teaching. Yi Xiu continued to busy himself. It took over an hour for Yi Xiuzai to revise his previously written, expired, strategy. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but sigh. Looking at his previous strategy, he couldn't help but exclaim, I'm getting old. Upon hearing this, Ouyang Xuanya remained speechless. Big brother, are you under 30 now? 25, Su Sui 26. Yi Xiu replied from a true scripture. Nanny. Ouyang Xuanya asked in surprise, you're only 26. You started playing online games after graduating from junior high school. That's not right, Yi Xiu replied. Oh my goodness, you're the real internet-addicted teenager, Ouyang Xuanya couldn't help but sigh. You still played well in the 9-year compulsory education. You're not the same, you started wandering in internet cafes at the age of 15, Yi Xiu mercilessly mocked. Ouyang Xuanya, however, did not accept this trick. He looked up and straightened his chest, proudly saying, we are different. I have a doctoral degree, not like you. Yi Xiu raised his eyebrows without hesitation and ignored him. Alright, I'll give this to Xiao Tang. Yi Xiu saved the completed guide and stood up. Where are you going? Ouyang Xuanya was puzzled. Of course it's for leveling up, Yi Xiu said. We don't have as many people as those grand guilds. We need to use a few people for each account, and of course, we need to hurry up. Ouyang Xuanya was also taken aback for a moment, then his eyes narrowed slightly and he said, I'll go too. After speaking, Ouyang Xuanya left, leaving Yi Xiu shaking his head and saying, this guy. As soon as the two of them go online, there is a pile of overwhelming invitations. After all, two experts who do not belong to the 8 major guilds suddenly appear in the 10th district, and players naturally want to pay their respects. Especially for the domineering, majestic figure named Yi Weiyang, adding friends is a great motivation, and it's not a waste of time. When he comes up, he is concise and asks for help with brushing records, which exudes the charm of Han Wenqing. Xian Tianyun and Jun Maxiao are both in their early 21st level, which has widened the distance compared to those big guilds. Therefore, in order to upgrade quickly, the two have decided to cross-level and challenge the dungeon. Buried Bones. Yi Xiu and Ouyang Xuanya found a sparsely populated area in the burial ground and began to brush monsters. With Xuantianyun's dual guns and Jun Maxiao's 1,000-machine umbrella, the two of them cooperated very well. Just as Xian Tianyun was preparing to help Jun Mo Xiao repair his sword, the heavenly strike from somewhere snatched the monster. I'll go, I'm so hot-tempered. Before Yi Xiu could speak, Ouyang Xuanya was anxious for the first time. It was only the first time he had seen the monster snatching so naturally. Where did you come from, little cutie? Stand up, Ouyang Xuanya typed and shouted. The battle mage ignored him and instead threw the small monster towards Xuantianyun with a falling flower palm. I'm going, not only to grab monsters but also to fight. Ouyang Xuanya was also angry. Who is that? Ouyang Xuanya didn't talk nonsense and directly controlled the mouse. A bullet exploded the head of the little monster. This is another reason why Ouyang Xuanya likes honor. The physics engine is really good, causing 2.3 times more damage when starting than in other areas. Therefore, Ouyang Xuanya often starts when operating, which saves trouble. It's me. A battle mage holding a long stick rushed out from the side. Although Ouyang Xuanya didn't know what that person looked like, the text on this channel all explained the person's current appearance. Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu click to see this person's ID, Qianqing, what kind of bull and horse. Ouyang Xuanya was just about to use his long-lost Zuan skill when the person across from him spoke up first. I heard that you two have been quite popular in the 10th district recently. Come and have a sparring, open an arena, and avoid being killed or relegated. The text should be as proud as it is. Ouyang Xuanya didn't get used to him either, and directly retorted in an ancestral style, "You fish who missed out on 9. Your compulsory education. How dare you talk to your father like that?" The text was sent over, and there was a sudden silence. It was obvious that Ouyang Xuanya had already poked the pain point there. That's enough, that's enough. You're probably going to be so angry on the other side. Yi Xiu also spoke out to comfort him at this moment. Although trash talk is common in honor, with someone like Ouyang Xuanya, can't this trash talk about autism on the other side? It's not over yet, where are we now? Ouyang Xuanya continued with a mouthful of gunfire, "Don't come out of this little spicy chicken that came out of the cesspool and disturb your father's eyes." On the other side, Qianqing was also angry and embarrassed, and no matter where it was, he rushed forward with his long stick. "Oh my dear son, are you going to kill your father?" Ouyang Xuanya typed sarcastically. Upon hearing this, Qianqing became even more angry and embarrassed. Waving his long stick, he swung towards Xiantian Cloud. Look at the stick. Qianqing, who was sitting in front of the computer, couldn't care too much and used all his rationality on the keyboard. "Damn it, you dare to hit your father, son." Ouyang Xuanya also smiled slightly, typing and mocking Qianqing, but he didn't panic. He just controlled the two guns in his hand and swept them fiercely. Although it was a strafing, it all hit Qianqing. After all, Qianqing doesn't have much rationality now. So, none of Qianqing's battle mages hit Xuantianyan's moves, while Ouyang Xuanya's Xuantianyan was hit with a gun and instantly emptied Qianqing's health bar, allowing Qianqing to board the return train directly. After regaining his senses, Qianqing didn't even know how he died, and the screen went black. At this moment, Blue River from afar also walked over and typed apologetically, saying, "I'm sorry, both of you. I didn't manage it properly. That kid just came to deliberately cause trouble because he was unhappy with you breaking records." Seeing Ouyang Xuanya still looking angry, Yi Xiu smiled and shook his head, typing, "It's okay. With the big forest, there's everything. You guys should go crazy in the arena to avoid causing conflicts with other guilds." At this moment, Ouyang Xuanya also typed and said, "So are you here to practice?" Blue River replied, "No, the wild map boss Blood Gunslinger Yage in the Buried Bones land is about to refresh." "So?" Ouyang Xuanya asked. Before long he could speak, Yi Xiu explained to him first. Wild map bosses can only be refreshed up to 3 times a week, generated within a random range of a map, making them very precious. These major guilds not only require the equipment dropped by these wild map bosses to strengthen the guild, but also need these bosses to enhance their reputation, because killing wild map bosses also has rankings. Upon hearing this, Ouyang Xuanya also became interested. After all, Yi Xiu said that his silver martial arts had a material that happened to be produced by the Blood Gunslinger, so he immediately typed and asked, "So are you here for this?" "Yes, I just didn't expect the two brothers to be here," Lon he said calmly. "The major guilds now want to recruit Xiantian Yun and Junemo Shao, so it's appropriate to leave a good impression on them. After speaking, I sent an invitation to join the team." Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu did not leave any ink marks, so they immediately clicked, "Confirm." "Since it's a small team, let's talk about your needs," Blue River said grandly, because he had already figured out their ways. Junemo Shao wanted materials to upgrade his silver weapon, but this Xian Tianyun didn't know what he wanted. Sometimes he was easy to talk about, and sometimes he liked to ride the fire and rob just like Jun and Mo Xiao. I want this blood shooter's blood-colored rifle, you can do whatever else you want. Yi Xiu remained as polite as ever, and as soon as he came up, the lion opened his mouth wide. Blue River knows about the blood-colored rifle. Although it must be dropped, a blood gunman can drop one at a time. Although this deal is not a loss, Blue River always feels like something is wrong. Next, Ouyang Xuanya directly broke through Lan He's defense and said, I want the belt and crystal of that blood gunner. If there are blood crystals falling, that's also acceptable. Puff. Blue River almost spat out old blood when he saw Ouyang Xuanya's quotation. What's wrong, so exaggerated? Ouyang Xuanya was somewhat surprised when he saw Blue River's expression. This. Blue River was a bit embarrassed because he couldn't come up with so many things, so he said, Brother, can you give us a way to survive? The blood gunslinger only has a few things. It's difficult for us to explain to the guild after you finish taking all of them this time. Okay, Ouyang Xuanya pondered for a moment and said, then I'll take this blood crystal. Upon hearing this, Blue River couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, these two guilds didn't continue to increase, otherwise their guild would have suffered heavy losses. He slowly said, since we have reached an agreement, let's go. We have received the news, and the other guilds have already rushed towards the blood gunslinger. Okay, let's walk. Ouyang Xuanya waved his hand, completely ignoring the previous extortion. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Seizing Boss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Seizing Boss. On the way, Yi Xiu explained to Ouyang Xuanya the love-hate of these grand guilds. Ouyang Xuanya remained speechless for a long time after listening, just for the sake of being a wild map boss. As for what? When he arrived, Yi Xiu noticed a group of people and horses wearing slightly green clothes coming towards him, so he called out to Blue River. Blue River turned his gaze and recognized it for a moment, then couldn't help but say, damn it, those bastards from Tang. Thinking of Blue River in Zhongxiao Tang makes me angry. The guild group mocks Blue River every day and asks him to fight on his behalf, but Blue River is not angry either. After all, if he has the ability to fight on his behalf, Zhongxiao Tang also invites him. The Chekianzi of Tang saw Blue River and recognized him, so he sent a message to Blue River. Why, how could Blue Creek Pavilion also take notice of this little boss, the blood gunner? Get out of here. Blue River knew that Chekianzi wanted him to take a step back, jokingly saying, wild map boss, whoever kills him will be their own. Not long after, the domineering majestic figures also came one after another. Seeing this, Lan He Houchianzi was quite helpless. There was no other way. If the blood gunslinger, the wild map boss, did not win the first kill, his guild would bow down in the 10th district, which was a must-fight. Damn it, why did you all receive the news? Blue River thought to himself. But he didn't panic, after all, these guilds didn't dare to open bosses first. No one would do such a thankless task. If someone else were to take advantage of it, it would not be worth the loss. So far, the several major guilds of Lanshi Pavilion are still observing, with only a few temporary wild teams working to scrape the blood gunman. After all, there is no command or operation, and the result of chopping the boss can only be being hung and beaten by the boss. Ah, it's better to go to the dungeon, there aren't so many intrigues, Blue River sighed. On the side, Ouyang Xuanya watched as the several guilds on the World Channel complimented each other, and suddenly felt an inexplicable desire to laugh. However, he still held back, as Ouyang Xuanya had received professional training, unless he couldn't help it. Just as Lan He, Chekianzi, and Yi Weiyang were chattering incessantly, Ouyang Xuanya suddenly pointed at the boss and said, damn it, who went to drive the boss? Yi Xiu and others turned their eyes. When they saw the ID, Yi Xiu couldn't help but complain. Isn't that the one who just returned to the city? Blue River also takes a closer look. Damn it, it's really 1,000 times. I saw Qianqing stepping on the magical wave and throwing his long stick at it. Blue Creek Pavilion is shameless, they actually drove the boss first, Che Qianzi cursed. What can Blue River do? He is also very helpless. If he can manage Qianqing, do he still need to invite these two over? Upon hearing Yi Xiu's conversation, Ouyang Xuanya also smiled and said, "Oh ho, my big brother really doesn't make people worry, so I'll go too." After saying that, he rushed forward with his two guns in hand. The people from Zhongkeatang and the domineering and majestic figures also twitched at the mention of this. When did Lanxi Pavilion become so shameless? For the sake of a small wild map boss, he even became their son. Yi Xiu didn't care about these people's verbal arguments here, and Qianji Umbrella turned into a spear and followed suit. Damn it, the person you're looking for, Blue River, is going to kill the boss, Che Qianzi said while avoiding Blue River's attack. Lan He also turned his perspective and suddenly realized that the newly formed team was missing two people. He took a closer look. Good guy, in just a little while, these two just joined the wild team. On the boss battlefield, the situation instantly changed due to the addition of Jun Ma Xiao and Xian Tianyun. The wild team, which was originally hung up by the blood gunman, began to face a comeback. The blood gunman, who was moving at high speed, was suddenly interrupted by a bullet. It was Xuantianyan, and Ouyang Xuanya used his reflex nerves to accurately capture the movement trajectory of the blood gunman. After mastering marksmanship, he began to output. After Ouyang Xuanya succeeded, Yi Xiu directly controlled Jun Mo Xiao to turn over the blood gunslinger with a heavenly strike. The foolish son of Ouyang Xuany's family, Qianqing, was directly interrupted by the combo. This is not just not reporting, the time has not arrived. Just now, Qianqing snatched the monster, and now he's being robbed of the boss. Is this beaver? This is a beaver. Later, Jun Mo Xiao hit the blood gunslinger with a falling flower palm, and Xian Tianyun used a tap shot to suppress it. At this moment, Qianqing suddenly prepared to launch a surprise attack on Jun Mo Xiao from behind. He could see that Jun Mo Xiao was now in charge of the main attack between the two of them, but how could he launch a surprise attack on the magnificent god of glory? Qianqing's blow dissipated Jun Ma Xiao's laughter, but there was not much sense of impact. Nighttime ninja skill. Shadow clone. Yi Xiu didn't get used to Qianqing this time, so he dodged behind him and said, "Goodbye to you." Then he hit Dragon Fong and sent him away. Originally, Qianqing had already deducted a lot of blood from grabbing the boss just now. Now, Jun Ma Xiao will try again a few times, and the result is predictable, and he has boarded the bus back to the city. Ouyang Xuanya, who was restraining the blood gunner, said to Yi Xiu, "Have you finished fighting? Come over and help me quickly." Upon hearing this, Yi Xiu also smiled and said, "Here we are." Then he ran straight to the blood gunner. Fighting judo skill. Throw. "President, the blood gunslinger has come to us," a player from Zhongkeatang shouted in the guild channel. Sleeping trough. Chekianzi also exclaimed in surprise, "Come over and help, the blood gunslinger has thrown it over." Blue River and Yi Weiyang and their group are more practical. They just stand in place, sit on the mountain and watch the tiger fight. Anyway, they are not hanging from their guild. I watched with great interest as the blood gunman slaughtered among the people in the middle grass hall. Just now, Jun Mo Xiao was responsible for killing Qianqing, and Xian Tianyun had excellent control over the damage, which naturally did not attract the hatred of the blood gunner. Therefore, a blood gunner without a target can only fight whoever he sees. "Hey, Blue River, are you not going up?" Yi Weiyang also intentionally instigated Blue Creek Pavilion to seize the boss, and then seize the opportunity to kill the boss himself. All the dirty and tiring work is done by Blue Creek Pavilion. Isn't it beautiful to have a domineering and ambitious plan to reap the benefits of the fisherman? I'm too lazy to go if I have to go with you. Blue River couldn't help but think carefully about Yi Weiyang. However, at this moment, Jun Mo Xiao, who had just thrown the blood gunman into the crowd, rushed forward again, and Xian Tianyun was also unwilling to be outdone, running faster than Jun Mo Xiao. Crouching slot, are he going to kill the boss in front of us? Yi Weiyang was also surprised. He had been playing honor for so many years and it was the first time he had seen someone dare to take food from a tiger's mouth when all the guilds were present. Compared to Yi Weiyang's surprise, Blue River was even more surprised by the skills of Jun Ma Xiao and Xian Tianyun. When opening the boss just now, the skills used by these two players have clearly exceeded the level of ordinary online game players. Z shaking gun, flying gun, aerial round dancing stick, how fast does this hand need to perform this operation? Can't it really be a professional player from any particular company who came with a nickname? Lon he was also surprised. If that's the case, how will we continue to play in the 10th district in the future? But if he doesn't move anymore, the blood gunner will be dealt with by these two guys. Blue River, why don't you go to Blue Creek Pavilion? After all, you have some friendship with Xian Tianyun and his team. Our domineering and majestic plan is here to raid the formation for you. The knight of the domineering majestic plan sent a message to the cold pond. I'm going to you, didn't I see these two people going crazy? Blue River was also speechless. Why go up there? I'll use your domineering and majestic image as cannon fodder. However, Blue River and his team are not panicking. Why do they need so many people to kill wild map bosses in the new district? Because the current levels in the 10th district generally range from 20 to 29. Unless you keep leveling, your mana won't last that long. And Ouyang Xuanya also thought of this, so it was basically Jun Ma Xiao from Yi Xiu who was using his skills all the time. He was leveling A, just using his skills intermittently. After all, he couldn't guarantee that someone would come to grab the boss and leave some mana value as a precaution. Hey, you're still looking, come and help me, Yi Xiu said in a voice. This group of temporary wild teams also reacted and quickly stepped forward to help. Rogue, use sand throwing quickly. Yi Xiu said, his mana value is almost bottoming out, so he needs to quickly use the potion. The gap between rogue sand throwing and blindness can be exactly one bottle. After all, the hand speed of former professional players is not limited. Alright, now listen to my command, Jun Mo Xiao, who was slowly turning blue, said in a voice. As soon as everyone saw that this was the 10th district's Nuren Jun Mo Xiao, they quickly responded collectively, and then one by one began to take action. Berserker's Cross Slash. Rogue Bricks. Mage's Flame Shock. Bangshan Strike. Blade Soul. Yi Xiu succinctly and clearly commanded this group of newcomers, while Ouyang Xuanya did not need it. He was there to prevent the Blood Gunslinger from interrupting the attack when these newcomers attacked. The Blood Gunslinger, who had previously left the wild team at a loss, became adept with Yi Xiu's command and Ouyang Xuanya's assistance. At this time, Blue River and others also became lively after seeing it. Don't laugh at this gentleman, it's so scary. Che Qianzi from Zhongkeatang was somewhat stunned. The key is this Xuantianyan, he can react without command, and the cooperation with Jun Mo Xiao is a perfect one. The boat tie of Lanxi Pavilion also sighed, as he had never seen such a tacit cooperation between the two people before. It was simply breathtaking, even the original Ye Zhiqiu and Muyu Orange Wind of Jiashi were just like that. I seem to see the shadow of Huang Xiao from Xuantianyan, although he is not as verbose as Huang Xiao, said Jiyue Qingcheng from Lanxi Pavilion. Upon hearing this, everyone also nodded. They found that Xuantianyan had very precise control over opportunities, but now he was playing boss. To put it simply, boss is also a type of NPC, and there are some rules to find, so the few of them didn't pay much attention to this. So Blue River spoke on the guild's flat channel and said, "Which team has available seats now? Hurry up and give up too." Everyone also showed a solemn expression upon hearing this. It was time for a strong warrior to break his wrist. "Xiantian, signal the others to prepare to flash," Yi Xiu said. "Got it." Ouyang Xuanya also immediately understood, because those members of the Grand Guild had already been touched. Seeing the trend of Xuantian and his team running again, Cheqianzi from Zongkeatang quickly posted a message on the World Channel, saying, "Brothers over there, come and join us. Our price is better than Blue River, and everything that explodes belongs to you." Damn it. Blue River didn't expect this guy to be so cunning. Xiantian Yun and Jun Mo Xiao wouldn't change their minds temporarily, would they? The price was agreed upon beforehand, so it's not worth starting from the ground. Xuantian brothers, we had an agreement before. We can't just keep our promises. It's a big deal. You'll have everything you asked for just now. Blue River also worked hard this time. After all, compared to the first kill honor of the boss and the materials, which is more important, Blue River can still distinguish. "We offer double the price," said Yi Du from the cold pool. Upon hearing this, Ouyang Xuanya felt a bit tempted, but still asked for Yi Xiu's opinion. Before Yi Xiu could speak, a roar suddenly came from the blood gunner's side. Roar. Boss has gone berserk. I don't know who shouted on World Channel. Ouyang Xuanya also turned his mouse to look over and found that it was the rookie thug from his own team who used a brick to hit the blood gunner's health to 10%. Damn it, why didn't you be so accurate just now? Ouyang Xuanya was also speechless, not accurate when he gave it, and especially accurate when it shouldn't have been. The blood gunman's rampage means that his little monster is about to come out. The small monsters summoned by the blood gunner are based on the players within his hatred range, and now, there are hundreds of people in this range, so the original boss battle has instantly become a team instance with hundreds of people. But at this moment, a person from Zongkeatang noticed that the blood gunman had disappeared. "Crouching Trough, Xuantian and the others have taken the blood gunslinger away," said Geha Xian from Zongkeatang on the World Channel. Although the little ghosts summoned by the blood gunslinger can be killed at any time, regardless of their hatred value, the blood gunslinger's hatred still hangs there. You should know that Xuantian and Junmo Xiao fought the most just now, and now the blood gunslinger doesn't fight anyone with them. You still have to be tough. The people from the three major guilds said. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Run after fighting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Run after fighting. Old Yi, what's going on now? Ouyang Xuanya said. It's okay, I'll call someone, Yi Xiu replied. Before Ouyang Xuanya could finish speaking, someone in the team channel spoke up and said, "Someone is coming towards us here." Upon hearing this, Yi Xiu also smiled and said, "Don't panic, my own person, give me the captain." That newcomer rogue handed over the captain without even thinking about it. So, players Zhongyue Mian, Jianqi, and Asamori joined the team. Okay, we can go now. Let's fight quickly to avoid being caught up later, Yi Xiu said on the team channel. The group also had a high fighting spirit upon hearing this. After all, if they killed this wild map boss, they would have made a name for themselves. When did you call Xiaoyu over, Xiaodo Sak, Lao Yi? Ouyang Xuanya was a bit puzzled. At this moment, Zhongyue Mian's old face turned black. It was already shameful for Jun Mo to call him Xiaoyayu by the great god. Now that the great god of Xiantian Yun also calls him that, how can he establish himself in the guild in the future? Just when I killed the boss, Yi Xiu replied, ignoring the embarrassment of Zhongyue Mian at this moment. You've been wanting to pit Blue River for a long time, haven't you? Ouyang Xuanya was also speechless. Since he wanted to snatch the boss, why did he agree to it? Yi Xiu knew what Ouyang Xuanya wanted to say by looking at his expression, so he replied, "What kind of words are you calling? This is called tactics. Ouyang Xuanya didn't speak, but secretly wrote a note to Yi Xiu. This person is too dark inside and needs to be treated carefully. If necessary, you can sell him first, otherwise you will be sold. It seems like 9 people are fighting monsters, but in reality, all 7 people are fighting soy sauce. Ouyang Xuanya carefully calculated the current health of the blood gunslinger, and if he cooperated well, he could still finish fighting and run away before those guilds came over. So, under the command of Yi Xiu and the double blow of Ouyang Xuanya, the blood gunslinger went from being arrogant to being pressed on the ground and rubbed against each other. The remaining 10% was slowly consumed by the consumption of 9 people. Ha ha ha, great, the passers-by couldn't help but shout loudly as they looked at the blood gunman lying on the ground being rubbed back and forth. As the blood gunslinger's health bar decreased, it was estimated that the 3 major guilds were almost finished, so they must fight quickly and make a quick decision. Therefore, Yi Xiu said to Ouyang Xuanya, I know you still have mana, and now you're using it all. Okay, Ouyang Xuanya said and began to use his skills. Rapid shooting. Curved shooting. Burst. Proficient in marksmanship. Don't worry about others grabbing monsters. Ouyang Xuanya's fight was so satisfying. In no time, the blood gunner's health bar was hit to only 5% of its remaining health. At this point, the blood gunner was ready to start summoning small monsters. Everyone, exit and leave Xiantian alone, Yi Xiu said to the other members of the team. Now it's Ouyang Xuanya pulling hatred, so there's no need for Yi Xiu and his team to continue attacking. Due to the fact that only Ouyang Xuanya was in the range of hatred of the blood gunslinger this time, there was only one small monster. So after the blood gunner had just summoned the small monsters, Yi Xiu and others entered the arena again and began a new round of harassment against the blood gunner. Mage's fiery impact, prepare for the flame explosion. Swordsmen are preparing to strike with silver light. Ghost sword formation. Yi Xiu was able to command in an orderly manner despite the remaining blood of the blood gunslinger. Soon, under the joint attack of several people, the blood gunslinger was quickly beaten to the brink of death. But it was also at this moment that the people of the 3 major guilds had finished clearing the small monsters and began to surround them. Everyone, quickly retreat, Yi Xiu shouted in the team channel. Upon hearing this, Zhongyue Mian and a few others immediately withdrew from the battlefield. They knew that the dying blood gunslinger was about to unleash his skills. The people of the 3 major guilds saw Yi Xiu's team start to retreat, thinking that they were giving up the boss to let them come and prepare to reap the benefits, but they couldn't help but stop their steps. But it's obvious that Tang doesn't like this. Cheqianzi thinks that Jun Maxiao is so shameless for this boss and will definitely not give up. Didn't he see that only a few miscellaneous cards have been refunded? Xuantianyan and Junmo Xiao are still there. Blue River, if you don't join us, then the blood gunslinger will belong to us, Cheqianzi said to the 10 district presidents of Blue River and Yidu Cold Pond. After finishing speaking, Cheqianzi rushed up with 2 small teams, and the rest were responsible for staying behind. Who knows if the blood gunslinger will still start summoning monsters, leaving a portion of them to be responsible for guarding the Blue Creek Pavilion and the domineering Xiongtu. Old car, you're not so kind. If you want me to tell you, first deal with those 2 shameless Xuantianyan and Junmo Xiao, said the domineering and majestic knight Duhan Tan. Let's deal with a few in one family. Blue River is also feeling tired now. He can't control his own success, and the hired thugs are not kind. Blue River feels bitter in his heart. Cheqianzi was about to agree, but he didn't realize that he was within the range of the blood gunner's attack. I saw the blood gunslinger posing in the shape of a horse stance, crossing his hands and supporting his right hand with his left hand. Old car, what's your opinion? Where's the old car? Yi Du was also puzzled as to why the person disappeared suddenly. Our president has returned to the city with the vanguard, said a member of the left Zongkeatang weekly. What kind of ghost? Blue River was also a bit surprised. He was so good that he didn't have anyone left, and suddenly felt an inexplicable desire to laugh. No, I'm professional, I have to hold back. It seems like the boss fought back on the brink of death, using indiscriminate shooting. Just as the car was ready, the former leader was within the range of the blood gunslinger's attack, and we followed some of the domineering and powerful figures back, a member of the Blue Creek Pavilion said in a text on World Channel. Everyone was also speechless, but then they realized that the boss was on the brink of death. Isn't that about being killed? Don't look at Lao Yi anymore, let's go. No matter how many people there are now, whoever gets it belongs to them. Lon he was too lazy to type and said directly in voice. But Blue River clearly did not realize what was happening now. I saw that the right hand of the blood gunman had turned into a remnant, constantly shooting around, forcing everyone to seek shelter. However, Xian Tianyun and Jun Maxiao were the only exceptions among these people. Are these two guys going to face difficulties? Blue River was puzzled. It was reasonable to wait until the blood gunslinger stopped under such a dense attack before going up. Are these two people planning to resist hard? But soon Blue River realized that he was wrong, because Jun Mo Xiao used his shadow clone and eagle step to directly land on the top of the blood gunner's head, while Xian Tianyun used Z-shaped shaking to avoid bullets fired by the blood gunner while constantly firing back. Compared to Yi Xiu's simplicity and rudeness, who takes the head out of 10,000 bullets, Ouyang Xuanya discovered that the bullets fired by the blood gunslinger have a regular pattern that can be found. Each bullet basically leaves enough space and time for one person to dodge and attack, but this requires extremely high operation, but it is difficult to defeat our high-intelligence prodigy. Ouyang Xuanya only needs a little calculation to accurately analyze the best direction for evasion and use the remaining space to shoot. Jun Mo Xiao's 1000 machine umbrella has been transformed into a spear shape with a round dancing stick. Xiantian Cloud launched a shot. In this way, under the operation of Ouyang Xuanya and the continuous attacks of Yi Xiu, before the blood gunman's indiscriminate shooting was over, he let out the most brutal sound of his life, and finally collapsed in front of everyone in the three major guilds with lifeless faces. Congratulations! Players Jun Maxiao, Xian Tianyun, Zhongyue Mian, Baozi Invasion, Tianqi, Asa Xingli, I am very NB, Ghost and Forget Baby Milk have completed the first kill of Blood Gunner Yage. I'll take the Blood Crystal and the Gunner Crystal. Old Yi wants the Blood Rifle, you can do whatever else you want. Ouyang Xuanya quickly messaged and then picked up something with Yi Xiu, ready to run away. But what the two people sitting in front of the screen didn't know was that someone had been staring behind them for a long time. Sleeping in bed, Xian Tianyun and Jun Maxiao are grabbing the boss again. Suddenly, a cry of surprise came from behind Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu. Chen Guo, who was helping to turn on the computer at the counter, had already seen it. So he shouted directly, "This is not the first time, as for being so excited. Boss, this time it's the wild map boss blood gunslinger," the person continued to exclaim in surprise. Damn it. Chen Guo couldn't help but burst out, "Wild map boss, this is much harder to kill than dungeon bosses. How did these two kill the blood gunslinger in front of those big guilds?" So Chen Guo quickly helped the guest open the computer and rushed over. As soon as I ran behind Ouyang Xuanya, I heard Yi Xiu next to me say in a voice, "Have you finished the inspection? Pick it up and run quickly." Chen Guo instantly understood what he meant. Dare to say, these two guys robbed the boss in front of the guild. The group of people behind Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu were all focused on staring at the screen, wanting to see how the bull man who dared to steal the wild map boss in front of the three major guilds would escape. Unexpectedly, Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu won't run away. Are they preparing hard steel? Suddenly, a member of the guild chasing Xuantianyun and Junmo Xiao suddenly jumped out and saw the familiar long stick. That's right, it's also Qiancheng, the foolish son of the Ouyang Xuanya family. After being sent back to the city by Yi Xiu, this guy ran over fearlessly, with a posture that was bound to seek revenge. Qianqing ignored June and didn't laugh. He directly hit Xuantianyan with a heavenly strike. Qianqing will never forget, an hour ago, Xuantianyan's mockery and that shot. Although Qianqing's personality is a bit lacking, his skills are indeed good and he is considered a top-level player in online games. However, compared to professional players, he is still far behind, let alone a freak taught by former professional players. Xian Tianyun raised his hand and fired a shot. Throwing is something Ouyang Xuanya learned from Yi Xiu's previous video of using Yi Zhiqiu to shoot a dragon's head up. He used the mouse to quickly move back and forth to make the bullet turn like in movies. In order to control the amplitude of the bullet's turn, the mouse's movement must be constantly careful, and a slight carelessness can cause it to deviate. And the target of Ouyang Xuanyang's shot is exactly 1 in 1,000. The head. Originally planning to use Liantu's Qianqing to attack Xuantianyan, he was instantly defeated. Okay, big guy, you still need to continue fighting. Hit me again and I'll take you back to the city, Ouyang Xuanya joked on the World Channel. Qianqing saw that he could never gain any benefits from Xuantianyan, so he had to use his strongest move. Offline. The other members of the 3 major guilds chasing after him, upon seeing this, could only give up pursuing and let Xuantianyan and Jun Maxiao run away. Sure, buddy. Chen Guo's voice came from behind. There's nothing I can do. If it weren't for that foolish deer chasing relentlessly, I wouldn't have done it, Ouyang Xuanya said innocently. At this moment, Yi Xiu also interrupted, Boss, it's almost my shift. I'll go to the front desk first. Go ahead, go ahead. Chen Guo was also in a great mood. She found that this cousin's talent for glory was even stronger than Tang Rose. Seeing Yi Xiu running away, Ouyang Xuanya quickly said, Sister, it's 11 o'clock and I'm also asleep. Damn it. Chen Guo cursed angrily, her cousin's deterrent power decreasing with Ouyang Xuanya. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Buying Snacks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Buying snacks. Compared to the leisure of Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu, Blue River at this time was very helpless. The original thug now feels like a disaster, and the balance of the 3 major guilds was disrupted overnight by Xuantianyan and Jun Maxiao, along with a 10-district middle grass hall president. Blue River now feels that he urgently needs the quick-acting heart-saving pill. I don't know what the situation is with Zongkeatang and Baki Xiongtu, but all he knows now is that Cheqianzi wants to tear apart Xuantianyan and Junmo Shao. Although Blue River greatly admires the courage and skills of these 2 individuals, their use of guild conflicts to grab bosses also makes him very unhappy. A boss who lost for no reason was once again ridiculed by the people of Zongkeatang and hegemonic Xiongtu. So just as Jun Mo Shao went online in the small town, Blue River sent a message directly. Brother, what you did today seems a bit out of place. Indeed, it's a bit. Who made you stay still? Jun Mo Shao quickly replied to the message. Blue River almost spewed out a mouthful of old blood. Nima, this person's shamelessness is simply unbearable. Blue River saw this and immediately went offline. He felt that if he continued to chat with Jun Mo Shao, he would eventually be furious. The next morning, Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu still did not meet in the morning. After all, one got up and the other just fell asleep. So Ouyang Xuanya stopped practicing today and found out after a round trip. I have finished my potato chips. Difficult to deal with, going to buy again, Ouyang Xuanya shook his head helplessly. But no wonder he did. Yesterday, after finishing his meal, he had not had time to tidy up, so he went straight to Yi Xiu. As a result, he forgot that his food reserves were running out. Today, he had no choice but to give up leveling and go buy snacks first, and then continue leveling in the afternoon. Why doesn't Ouyang Xuanya directly use the snacks from the internet cafe as a cushion? The reason is simple. The internet cafe is mostly made of instant noodles, and apart from this, Ouyang Xuanya dare not move the rest. With only a small inventory, he doesn't want to be served by Chenguo's big mouth. I called a taxi at the door and Ouyang Xuanya headed straight to the largest supermarket in H city. He has been in this city for some time, but he has never visited a supermarket, so Ouyang Xuanya was quite excited along the way. Young man, you don't need to be taken by your family when you go out alone. You're not yet an adult, right? The driver glanced at Ouyang Xuanya. I couldn't help but joke. I have already graduated from college, Ouyang Xuanya explained with a smile. That's really impressive. I thought you didn't even go to high school when I saw you like this. The driver exclaimed, where are you going, young man? Go to the largest supermarket nearby, said Ouyang Xuanya. The largest one nearby, then it belongs to the largest Times Square nearby, the driver said. Upon hearing the driver's words, Ouyang Xuanya also nodded and gestured for the driver to go there. The driver is a middle-aged man in his 40s, who is quite good-looking and dressed in sportswear, indicating his strong physique. The car was parked on the roadside of Times Square. Ouyang Xuanya paid and walked in, while the driver escorted him to the door. Because Ouyang Xuanya didn't know the way, he even asked the driver before leaving, and the driver was obviously a kind person who answered almost every question, of course, mainly asking for the way. Thank you, master. Goodbye, Ouyang Xuanya waved to the driver and walked towards Times Square. As soon as he entered the supermarket, Ouyang Xuanya headed straight for the snack area. Just as Ouyang Xuanya was about to pick up the last packet of potato chips on the shelf, a pair of white hands reached out as if they had a spiritual connection with Ouyang Xuanya's heart. The two of them glanced at each other at the same time. Hello, excuse me, are you also here to buy potato chips? I came to the supermarket to buy something, so since you wanted to, let me give it to you, Ouyang Xuanya nodded. Thank you, the other person whispered. After seeing that Ouyang Xuanya was still a child, he stopped talking and continued to choose snacks. Ouyang Xuanya also continued to choose what he wanted to eat. Ouyang Xuanya didn't talk to her much. She was a girl with a face tightly wrapped in a mask and hat, either ugly or a celebrity. Ouyang Xuanya couldn't stand the former, while he was afraid of following the paparazzi to write articles. Returning to Xingxin Internet Cafe, Ouyang Xuanya discovered that Chen Guo was eagerly waiting for him at the door. What's wrong, sister? Ouyang Xuanya immediately smiled when he saw Chen Guo, but that smile was a bit far-fetched. What's wrong, you ask me what's wrong? Can you report it first when you go out? What if someone abducted you? Chen Guo glared at Ouyang Xuanya. I'm just going to buy something, Ouyang Xuanya said weakly. Stop talking nonsense, you kid. I'm not talking about you, why are you so insecure? I tell you, you're not allowed to go out again in the future. If I catch you, I'll see if I don't peel off your skin, Chen Guo threatened fiercely. Ouyang Xuanya looked at his old sister and suddenly thought of the fear of his father being dominated by his mother's feather duster, which made him tremble uncontrollably. I know now, I'm sure it won't happen again in the future. Don't worry, sister, Ouyang Xuanya quickly said. Remember to report when you go out in the future, Chen Guo warned before leaving. Ouyang Xuanya breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Chen Guo leave. Alas, in the afternoon, Yi Xiu walked slowly down the stairs. Seeing Ouyang Xuanya with a gloomy expression on his face, Yi Xiu was also taken aback. What's wrong? Who bullied you? Tell my brother. Yi Xiu patted his chest with a look of righteous indignation. Ouyang Xuanya thought that Yi Xiu had changed his personality. Where did yesterday's abdominal black go? But before he could be happy for a while, Yi Xiu's next sentence directly let him break through the defense. Make my brother happy too. Ouyang Xuanya suddenly burst into tears. Yi Xiu didn't make too much fun of Ouyang Xuanya and opened the game on his own. Ah, as a girl, why is the old sister so fierce? Or is it the gentle little sister I saw today? Ouyang Xuanya said thoughtfully. Little sister. Upon hearing Ouyang Xuanya's words, Yi Xiu couldn't help but frown. What little sister? Little sister, when I was just buying potato chips at the supermarket, I came across a beautiful voice. I couldn't see my appearance clearly with a mask and hat, but my hair, which was orange-colored, looked quite nice. Ouyang Xuanya asked. Cough, cough. Yi Xiu suddenly began to cough dry. Orange hair. Yi Xiu couldn't help but think of someone. You probably fell in love at first sight. Yi Xiu asked in surprise. How could it be? What if she's not a beautiful woman? Ouyang Xuanya retorted. That's it. Then I can rest assured. Yi Xiu breathed a sigh of relief. He had promised his old friend that if this happened, it wouldn't be a sibling relationship. That's a nearly 6-year-old age difference. After Ouyang Xuanya and Yi Xiu went online, the news from Blue River almost exploded their email addresses. Two brothers, the Frost Forest dungeon has been broken. End of this chapter.